You are listening to NEUROMINDED, where we discuss perspectives and ideas as we navigate the mysteries of the cosmos. Thank you for tuning in to NEUROMINDED. In today's episode, we will be discussing the 90s.
Hello, I'm Patrick, host number 1, and I was born in 91.
I'm Sean, host number 2. I was born in 92.
And I'm Alison, and I was born in 93.
Thank you for joining us, Alison. Pleasure
Thanks for
having you
having
on.
me.
No problem.
Presents is 90s edition or 90s nostalgia. Alison, what is 90s nostalgia? When you think of 90s nostalgia, what do you think of? What are some of the things that you like, it pulls you back to?
I don't know. When I think of the 90s, I think of like just like the days before everything was so like technology based and everyone was like more in the moment. Like,
Getcha.
I don't know. I feel like when I think about my childhood, I think about like being outside all day, like riding bikes, playing with all the like neighborhood kids and like stuff like that.
I get that. Sean, do you want to tell us, what do you think about when you think of the 90s? What is something that really sticks out in your head?
When I think of the 90s, kind of similarly to what Alison said, really pre-technology based like childhood growing up, you know, like instead of like an iPad, you had a Game Boy, you know, and there was a lot more playing outside. There you still see a lot of it today. We don't see it, we don't feel it, because by the time like we were growing up, like we were so far separated from like the childhood playing outside until the sun was going down. But it felt like a different time back then. You know, like when I look at home videos, for some reason it's always in the winter and everything always looks so like gritty and like old. Like all the cars and shit look the same, and like old cars, not like futuristic looking like nice sports cars. Like everything just had that like rustic look to it, you know.
I get it. No, I totally agree.
What about you?
Along with that, I actually like think of like the craziest simplistic stuff. Just like Pokemon comes off as one of like the main things I'd be thinking about, because like I don't know if this is everyone's experience. I mean, I feel like it's not everyone's experience, but maybe just a good portion. Like never learning what Pokemon was as a game, but acting as if we knew what we were doing when we were playing Pokemon, or just collecting for the sake of like, this Pokemon's bigger than this Pokemon, so this Pokemon wins and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I mean, we're under the impression that some are more famous and more rare than others, but like in reality, like the game actually had a design and still obviously has a design. But when I was a kid, no one cared. It was kind of just like you collected them and you just like put everything together, you know. And so when I think like the 90s, I definitely think about, you know, the era of like growing up in this like, it's almost like the opposite of helicopter moms or helicopter parents, but less latchkey kids. You know what I mean? Like the latchkey kids of like the kids that could just go home and do whatever they want when their parents are at work.
Yeah.
I think it's like that era in between where parents were letting go a little bit and allowing kids to kind of just grow up, but not like so much that they could literally do whatever the fuck they want. Like I remember me growing up, I had freedom, but I didn't have all the freedom like, you know, like younger generations had. And I definitely was not tied down like nowadays, or not even nowadays, but like maybe the 200s, 2000s. 200s.
200s, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. But not, you know what I mean? Like I feel like we had a good era of like time frame where like we really did get a feeling of like learning from our mistakes, but also like growing individually.
Right.
That's the 90s to me. I was talking to Alison before this started. I was saying like the opposite of nostalgia or whatever. Like when you're thinking of something in the past that reminds you of something negative. For me, it's like the 90s. I can't think of anything negative in a sense. I feel like it was all just like this fun, continuous path. So.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. But yeah, Sean, the structure, obviously everyone knows our structure is kind of swapping me and Sean go back and forth, and last episode had Mikey also not intervening, but he was also part of it. So we're gonna go back and forth, me and Sean talking about different topics and talking to Alison, asking her questions about it or her perspective. And you know, Sean, if you'd like to start, I'd like for you to go first, just because, you know, throwing you the torch kind of thing.
Well, really fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Allison, was there any takeaways from what Pat was talking about that you wanted to get into?
Oh, I wanted to go back to the Pokemon thing, because that was like a massive part of my childhood in the 90s.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I was, like you were talking about the card game, I was wondering if you guys remembered, there was this store called Zany Brainy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a toy store, but they had like one night a week, they had these like Pokemon card tournaments where you could go and like battle people and get like gym badges and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't.
You guys don't remember that?
No, I didn't do Pokemon there.
Oh, okay. No, we got really into it, like me and my brother.
How often did you do it? Did you actually do it often?
Yeah, we went every single week.
What the heck?
Like on the night that they did it, we were very, very into it. We have like, I think I still have them somewhere. We still have all of the like gym badges and stuff that we won.
Oh, so you played? You played you played the card game, and then you were beating people too at the card game. That's dope, because I personally I never got even into the card game.
I never learned. I swear to God, I never learned it.
It was so long ago. Like I don't.
That's crazy.
Remember, but like, yeah, we got really, really into it.
Can I ask you a question about the card game itself?
Yeah.
So like the card game, if I'm not misunderstanding, you need the element cards to actually do moves with your character, right? With your Pokemon, like you would have to get like the energy card for lightning, and you'd have to get a certain amount so you could do an attack. Is that how it was working? I'm trying to remember. Is that not like Magic is, Sean, where like you need a certain amount of like land, whatever, to do an attack or do
like
use
mana,
yeah, mana.
And your lands.
Is that how it was though with energy cards?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember, Alison?
It was so long ago, I honestly don't remember, but that sounds accurate.
Okay. Yeah. Just because like I mean every deck came with those energy cards, and like those were part of it. So I've always wondered, like, I don't want to go back to Pokemon and never like get into it. I don't really care enough. I kind of just love the folklore of it and like the cartoons and stuff like that. I don't really want to play the game. But like I always thought about that, like what if I actually put time into learning the game a little bit, just so at least I could understand what this game even meant in the beginning. Because you know, you look at this game and you're thinking like this game was designed by illustrators, writers, all these people that worked on this thing in order to make a game. They didn't just make drawings and give off. So it's like funny how some kids like me didn't even care about that part of it. Literally gave no shits. It just was like, oh, this is a cool Pokemon. Look at Charmander, you know, look at Caterpie, whatever. And I don't know, it's just interesting that you actually took it for what it was and what they designed it for. I think that's really impressive. That's really cool.
So it was more about like the collecting for you, than the actual game.
Way more.
Like I liked the collecting too. That was fun. I still have my first Pokemon card.
Which one was it?
Articuno.
Oh, one of the legendary birds. Nice.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Sean,
but
you got
yeah, so not really into I collected some of the cards, but my biggest thing was the Game Boy game. Pokemon Blue, I put so many hours into that game, probably like 100 hours into that game, because I
remember what sorry
no what's the question?
I was just saying, do you remember what Pokemon you'd pick in the beginning?
Yeah, so Squirtle was my starter, and the rest of them were kind of like I remember in Pokemon Silver I captured the legendary beast Pokemon, which were like the legendary birds but for Gen 2. But I think that's pushing more like early 2000s maybe by the time Silver came out. I don't know yet. But with Blue, the main thing I remember is exploiting the rare candy glitch in the game, so you could just get a bunch of rare candies, so you could like level up your Pokemon to 100.
Oh my God.
And
Fucking
I don't even
cheater.
know how I came across that like as a kid and understanding like, here I read this on like dial-up internet, I do the thing on my Game Boy, and then I just have like infinite rare candies, and that levels up my Pokemon, you know, as high as I want it to go. Yeah, good times.
Damn.
Pokemon was the shit.
Damn, you little cheater.
Yeah,
Cheating the game out, bro. But that's okay though. I mean, I guess like, especially when you're younger, it's like, you know, you probably had the time to grind out, but it's like, fuck that, you know. Let me
Yeah.
get my Pokemons leveled up, man. I want to see the big version of that Pokemon. I want to see these little baby versions.
you know, think of an experience pertaining to Pokemon back in the 90s and just kind of like, you know, speak on something or tidbit of information connecting to it. Even through the like gym badge thing, like maybe something else pertaining to Pokemon in your past that you could think of, something along those lines.
That's like the only thing I can think of. Like I never played the Game Boy games or anything like that.
Oh no, you never did.
No, nope.
Well, what about to this day though? Did you ever like play any like more recent games? Like as like the game
I
continued.
mean, Pokemon Go.
Oh, Pokemon Go.
I'm super into that.
Are you wait? You're still playing it?
Oh yeah,
Oh my God, what? I didn't.
on a daily basis.
I literally never thought. I felt like it died away. So like.
I
because
think it
died
did for a lot
me.
of people. I remember when it first came out, everyone was so into it. Like if you were outside, you were playing Pokemon Go. Like anyone you saw walking, they were playing Pokemon Go. But yeah, it's not as popular anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm still obsessed with it.
It's one of those like games where like grinding it is worth it. You know, you feel that like sense of accomplishment, you know.
Yeah. And I feel like they've continuously like added new features that have made it interesting.
But okay, yeah, that's fair. Patrick, you could go ahead speak on
I just think
Pokemon
it's really funny
experience.
too. Yeah, I just think it's really funny when it comes to Pokemon Go, just in the sense that like, it was. I feel like it was one of the first games. At least I don't know if you guys have a memory of another game that were like, it was so globally liked that people were doing it such large amounts, and they were doing it so frequently that it was like socializing, but it was also like a dangerous level. It was almost reminds me of like planking. You know, like people were like planking even though it wasn't safe to like plank certain areas. Like
Yeah.
people were like playing Pokemon Go, and they were like going to like dangerous areas, and they were going like the highway and shit like that to just like catch Pokemon. And it's funny because I feel like I can't recall any other thing before Pokemon Go where that was something where like, shit, now we have to make it an obvious clarity that you shouldn't Pokemon Go and drive. You shouldn't Pokemon Go in the street. You shouldn't Pokemon Go in, you know, like dangerous areas and go into like cut off like, you know, like people were going into like illegal areas to catch Pokemon, you know? I even saw like a report about like police officers, instead of going to one of the calls, they were trying to catch a Pokemon, so they ignored the call so they could like catch this Pokemon.
Wow.
Like that's how like big it got, to the point where people literally weren't doing their job because they were busy playing Pokemon Go. Fuck. Like I can't imagine, like personally I was into it for a while, but it wasn't enough for me to like put so much time. It's really like, to me again, it's impressive that you still play that thing. I was doing Pokemon Go, and then I was also doing that Pikmin game for a while, and I gave up on both pretty quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean like going back to the 90s, we didn't have games like that where you could just go out and play like while you're out, you know what I mean? So there wasn't that like you're putting yourself in danger by being in certain places, or it's like consuming your entire day and you're not focusing on your job or anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could keep the gaming separate from everything else because it was like you could only do it at home, you know?
It's true. And like it's almost at a point where they took that formula of Pokemon Go, and I feel like, I don't know if anyone can let me know an earlier game that actually blew up like that. It feels like that reached out, because I know like Harry Potter tried to do something like Pokemon Go, And I did that for like maybe a week, and it was just not at all close. Like Pokemon Go, to this day, I mean, obviously you still played Alison, but to this day, it still keeps people entertained, and I'm sure they're doing more updates, stuff like that, make it more fun. But like, I know that, like, it's almost like they're trying to strike lightning. Other companies are trying to like copy that design, but it's, I guess, in my opinion, it's the nostalgia that comes from the start of Pokemon back in the day, right? Like, Pokemon was so large back when we were younger in the 90s that it can continue up to now, 2022, and still be super popular because it's like that nostalgia holds really tight. It also brought in new kits. Plus, like, they've grown so much, right? I mean, they have more Pokemon, they have video games, they have more card trading, they have like, I mean, I'm sure they have like tournaments that are more high level, like Magic has like high level tournaments, Sean. Like, I'm sure Pokemon has high level tournaments too. So I don't know, I just think it's really impressive that something so interesting can grow. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, so I think that, like, as large as like just Pokemon in general is, one of the biggest things as someone who still likes to get the games that I found super disappointing is Pokemon is like this billion-dollar franchise, and like their graphics are shit when they release things on the Switch. Like, it looks like I don't know, it looks like a GameCube game sometimes. It's like, why aren't you guys like trying to put some money and effort into like the overall execution of the game? Like, they're going open world, and Pokemon Legends Arceus, the execution of that one was like really well done in terms of the gameplay loop and all that. And the new one that's coming out, Scarlet and Violet or whatever, those ones seem to follow suit with the whole open world concept, and I'm all for it. But then I watch the trailers and I'm like, dude, this looks like shit. Like, why can't they just get it looking, even like Breath of the Wild looked good on the Switch. I don't know what's wrong with Game Freak, that's the developer of the games. I don't know why they can't just devote a little bit more time. And also, while we're on the topic of Pokemon Go, I recently read that Niantic had to lay off like a shitload of people in June because like, even though Pokemon Go is still pretty popular and people are doing it, they can't come up with any other games to like follow it up, because just strictly like business matters. When you take something and you make a lot of money off something, the next year you're supposed to surpass that. There's like profits that you're supposed to have. So if you can't reach it, dude, it's like, oh shit, like, that's the one thing about business that kind of sucks, is like, you got to keep going upward to some capacity, or else the business head honchos are going to be like, well, we have to make a profit this year, so we're just going to start laying some people off. But yeah, Patrick, what do you think?
Yeah, no, it's just interesting because, I mean, they're, like I was saying before, that they're still like growing as a company or as a concept or whatever you want to call it, a brand. But like 1996, I'm seeing that 1996 it was created. That's like a long time to have like a concept continue. I mean, I was 5 when Pokemon was created, so like I was just at the peak of where like they were trying to market too, five and up kind of thing. And it was just like, it's impressive that even though they're firing people at that rate, like, I still believe that once they have more ideas that take off, they're going to be hiring and creating a larger aspect as like teams go on. Because right now it's like maybe there is a slowdown, but also there's a slowdown with a lot of things. So it's not even just like Pokemon. There's a slowdown with a lot of different brands that they have to be a little bit minimized because the franchise can't grow at the rate that it used to, But like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Pokemon is going to be able to grow really fast. I do agree though that it feels like sometimes they'll try to make as much product as possible that they might not even give it the best quality more than just a quantity. Like, oh, let's release this game and let's get another game. And like Pokemon Snap got released again, and I don't know if it was any good. I didn't get any reviews or interested in it. But like, I know Brett got it and he said he had fun, but it's like, he hasn't talked about it since we talked that one time. So it's like Pokemon Snap is like they're trying to redo that love that we had on the 64 with Pokemon Snap, and it's just not sticking to the point where we fell in love with it then, and now it's not going to hold you. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, so especially speaking on Pokemon Snap, the biggest thing where it's like I wanted to get the new one. I just wasn't really all that interested in that gameplay loop anymore. But there was something so mystifying about how like the last level of Pokemon Snap on 64, it was Mew. You had to shoot these special things at Mew to get him out of his orb, and then you get pictures of him, and that's like the final level. And you feel like the epicness of like, oh, this is the rarest Pokemon. I'm getting a photo of him. You know, it was this awesome, epic, like mystifying thing. But when I look at this current one, the one that they released for the Switch, I mean, obviously it could be because I'm older, right? But also I think at the same time, it's just, it can't capture that it did back then. Because like back then you don't have the internet. You don't have Cerebi.net, which is what I use to cheat in my Pokemon games, because it just lays out all the Pokemon that are available. We didn't have any of that back then. So like when all this happens, like you know, kids nowadays probably could utilize the internet a lot more. So it's not exciting. You know, you don't have that same excitement.
It's no. God damn.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Pokemon Snap, Allison? Do you remember
Not
Pokemon
that I can
Snap?
remember.
No? Okay. Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium were my fucking go-to Pokemon games.
Pokemon Snap was the one where you take pictures of them?
Yeah, it's basically like a roller coaster, and you're like rolling through the jungle or like wherever you're looking, and you're basically looking side to side, and then you're taking a photo of the Pokemon in their like in the wild kind of thing, and you're trying to get them in different positions. Sometimes I think you'll have like fruits or something, so you like throw fruit out of your cart and like a Pokemon will come up to it and eat it, and then you get more points if it's eating it at the time and stuff like that. It was just kind of like a what would you compare it to, Sean?
Which one? Pokemon Snap?
Yeah, what would you compare it to? Like any other game? Like, is there another game you compare it to?
Pokemon Go, in the sense of like you're going around this landscape. Well, no, actually, you're not. In the original, you're not moving. You're a part of like a roller coaster ride thingy, but you're looking around and you see Pokemon and you take a picture of them. In the same sense that I guess when you're walking around playing Pokemon Go, it kind of gives that same experience slightly, except in Pokemon Go, you're still trying to catch it. But I guess I could connect it to that a little bit. I can't think of any video games where like
I'm trying to think of a game outside of Pokemon where they have that kind of design where it's like you're like moving through an environment trying to like visually see. I mean, the only example I can think of is like arcade games where you're like you know, like those gun games where you're like you're moving throughout the throughout the scene and you're like seeing different guys in different areas and stuff like that. But like Pokemon Snap and the Pokemon Stadium was basically, in a nutshell, it was just basically the Pokemon Game Boys, but it was like you picked your Pokemon and then you threw out your Pokemon and you battled like 5 at a time or something like that. That was always good though.
Yeah. Dog fighting.
Yeah, it was dog fighting. It was basically
teaching kids how to dog fight.
But yeah, no, I do love this Pokemon conversation, but I would love to move on. If you
I have
guys
one
are
more
interested.
thing. Actually,
Oh,
I
sure.
had one more thing saved up.
Sorry, go ahead.
And it's one of my favorite things. I learned about this recently, so I just had to verify that Pokemon Silver, the creation and the release of it, was in the 90s, which it was released in 1999, even though the movie was Pokemon 2000.
I remember that one.
You get the freaking gold-plated Mew, or what was that? Gold-plated something?
No, that was in Pokemon the first movie. So Pokemon, the movie 2000, I think probably had something with Lugia, that legendary, the one for Pokemon Silver, because that was the introduction of Lugia. So the creator of Lugia, his name was Takeshi Shudo. He was the head writer of the first Pokemon anime, and he was given a lot of creative freedom when he made the first Pokemon movie. But due to like the epilepsy thing in the Pokemon show, which that's a whole thing to get into as well, they gave him full creative control of the movie. But when he did it, he made it a lot darker than it would have otherwise been allowed. You know, that's why Mewtwo has such like this like kind of tragic arc to his story. But anyway, after that became a blockbuster, they started giving him a lot of creative freedom for the next Pokemon movie, which is Pokemon the movie 2000. So he created Lugia, but the idea was that Lugia was supposed to be the maternal Pokemon, the creator, you know, of all the life on Earth. That was what Lugia was supposed to be. But when they filmed the movie, they gave Lugia a masculine voice. But the creator of Lugia always imagined the Pokemon is more like a maternal, therefore like more of a feminine voice. for the role, but they totally went the opposite way with that. And that change was so significant to this guy that he started gulping down alcohol and drugs and felt like he wanted to die. So like he became so depressed and stuff because he had this awesome idea of Lugia as this great, magnificent new Pokemon to introduce, this maternal figure. Yeah, exactly. And the studio was like, we're gonna give him a voice like this. And it was like, that's not what my mom sounds like, you know. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like they totally shit on his concept of what he wanted. Patrick, what do you think about that?
Well, maybe your mom's a smoker and that's why she sounded like that.
True.
I mean, come on, dude.
True.
Voices, just because you sound like a man doesn't mean you're a man, Sean.
Yeah, Marge Simpson's sisters, right?
There you
They
go,
got the voices.
Yeah,
No, but
man, maybe that's what they were thinking. No, I 100% think that the powers that be were like, no, we had to make him a man. We had to make him
and it's just really
leader.
Unfortunate.
It is kind of unfortunate, actually, because I don't know. I think it's cuter if it was a mother type. I don't know. I think that's really adorable. So sadly, that's a reality that happens, though. We've talked about this before about how like they make decisions sometimes in like Hollywood or just movies where they're just like, I don't know why, but we have to make this a man or we have to make this blah blah blah. It's like, dude, just let them finish their vision. Like finish their vision in the sense that, you know, it's never going to be perfect, but at least they get their vision out. Sean.
Yeah, so ultimately though, like the creator, you know, he kind of got into this deep depression and all that because of what they did. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2010. Okay. He was only 61 and it was a brain hemorrhage.
Wow.
And it's sad because like a lot of that, you know, once you start kind of you get depressed, you get involved with drugs, alcohol, you know, because of him going down that line, it eventually led to him, you know, probably hemorrhaging like this because all those, the stress. The stress, the toxins, everything going into the body. So it's a really tragic story, and it made me appreciate the Pokemon a lot more, honestly.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it's actually bringing me down, but but it does make me appreciate the Pokemon because the amount of heart he put into it. He really cared for the designs. So
Lugia, she is the best Pokemon out there.
She's wonderful. I love her. She's so beautiful.
Yeah, we can move to the next topic though. Let's hit it.
Because I got stuff for everything. I got TVs, movies.
No, let's get very specific. So, Alison, I want you to talk about the flood that hit the Red River Valley in 1997, becoming the most severe flood since 1826. What do you have to say about that? That was in 1999. No, 1997.
1997. Well, I was 4 years old, so I wasn't really aware of anything that was happening.
Maybe.
All right, so I got something else. All right. Okay, so September 9th, 1990, Samuel Doe, the president of Liberia, was captured by rebels, tortured, and murdered. It was videotaped and seen on news reports around the world. What do you think about this, Alison?
That's some pretty dark shit.
Yeah. I'm just on the Wikipedia for 1990s.
But do you agree with that decision?
Yeah. No, let's just a blanket, a general idea on what to go with. To what you were saying, Patrick.
Let's start with toys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, I'm gonna start with toys. All right.
Well, everybody says their favorite toy.
All right, favorite toy. I have a combination. So Jurassic Park 2 came out in 97-ish, and they had a bunch of toys for it. And you know that giant trailer thing they have in the movie, the one that's over the cliff with the T-Rex and all that.
That baby T-Rex inside there.
What's up?
Are you talking about when they had the baby T-Rex inside the?
And then the two come up and they try knocking it. They knock it off the cliff. So I
love that scene.
I had a toy of that, and then I had a toy T-Rex. And the T-Rex, you were able to like feed it stuff, and then you just take it out of its stomach afterwards. So like I would set up these like movie scenarios. I even had like a little Jurassic Park Jeep thing, and like it'd be like, and then the T-Rex would come, and like that's probably the same thing with Star Wars, but Jurassic Park was always the most fun I've had playing with toys.
Hell yeah. Alison?
I feel like we're gonna have very different favorite toys from the 90s.
No worries.
I liked Barbies, American Girl dolls.
I love the Barbies.
I just feel like what guys liked was way different. I mean, I had brothers, so I played with a lot of the like
Oh yeah, that's fair.
boys' toys too.
That
But
is
I don't know
fair.
if you guys remember like Tamagotchis.
Dude,
Yes.
I had that on my list,
The
Alison.
little like keychain thing.
Yes,
oh my
I
God.
had that on my list actually. So I'm
I
glad
was
you brought that up.
obsessed
Go
with
ahead.
those. I had this one with my best friend where we each got one and you could connect them and then they could like move to the other screen and they could like have babies together. Super weird, but it was like the
What
coolest thing
heck?
ever.
Do you remember though, like with Tamagotchis, you remember how long they lived without being fed or whatever? What was like their lifespan that like they like if you didn't care for them a certain amount of time frame? Because I remember, wasn't it really short? Like if you didn't care for them for a certain amount of
I
time,
think
they would
you
like
had to
starve to
be
death.
like very on top of it, otherwise
Yeah.
they would die. It's funny because they've actually brought that stuff back, and my friend's daughter has one.
A Tamagotchi?
Yeah,
Are they advanced though too, or are they basically the same?
I think
Like
they're
are they
the
like advanced
same.
version of it, or
No, I think they've kept them like pretty much the same.
basic
But she was
bitch?
telling me that she kept hers alive for like over a month. I'm like, damn, that's really impressive. I could
That is
barely
really
keep mine alive for like 3 days.
I don't even remember how good I was with them. I remember you'd give them to somebody to watch them for you, like a babysitter, when you had to
Right?
do something.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's for sure. That's crazy though. That was the first toy I was gonna bring up, Allison. If we didn't
Oh,
have
really?
a random toy, yeah. But let me just say mine. Actually, Sean, you got something to say about Tamagotchi?
Yeah, so Tamagotchi, I remember faintly Tamagotchis, very faintly, but it made me think of Neopets. That was like a late 90s, very late 90s. Like early 2000s, we could probably do something about that and get into that sometime in later date. But Neopets is what I thought about when it came to that, because like, and I did that for a little bit, but it was the same idea where it's like you had this creature and you had to take care of it, and like it was super creative. But yeah, so obviously you're familiar with Neopets. What was your experience like with that, Allison?
I still play Neopets.
It's still a thing, really?
I'm not ashamed of it. I still play it. Me and my best friend still play it together. We're very into it.
Can you explain it to me? Do you mind?
You never played Neopets?
I don't. I'm trying to remember. I'm looking
Oh
it
my
up right
God.
now.
One of the best parts of my childhood. It's basically just like a website where you can create your own like virtual pet.
Okay.
And then you can like take care of it, you can feed it, you can like buy it different things. They've like upgraded it now where you can like dress them up in like different like customizations. But then they have like more like adult stuff where you can do like stocks, stuff like that.
Stocks? What the?
You can do stocks, and then you can like, I don't know, it's like a whole thing. But I don't involve myself in the stock part of it. I know that there's a lot of people that do. Originally, the website was created for college students, but then it turned into like a children's thing.
So you're saying like at its genesis in the 90s, it was supposed to be for college? Or you're saying this oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm making an account right now.
Are you really?
Yeah. But
You're
like,
oh my
hey,
God.
excuse me, guys. I'm not gonna be paying attention to this right
yeah,
now.
no,
I
but
don't
like
know.
I'm taking
My
care of
Neopets army. I'm
I
gonna
don't
build
know
an
if it's just the nostalgia that like makes me keep playing it because
Yeah.
it brings me back to my childhood and I just love that feeling, or if it's
Yeah.
just like still fun to play, but I enjoy it.
I'm sure it's still fun to play.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, I would like to keep talking about Tamagotchis if you guys have more to say, but otherwise, I was gonna say I don't know if you guys remember these, but they're called Crazy Bones.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have
Dude.
like an entire box of them. I still
Still?
have them. Yes.
I don't have any, but no, Crazy Bones. My whole my whole memory of Crazy Bones was we used to live. Well, my parents still live in the house, my childhood home, but it was like a couple blocks away, downtown Lombard, right? And we would go down to the store, and there was this like card slash like. It reminded me of what's the name of the shop you were talking about?
Zany Brainy.
Zany Brainy, but I don't remember what it was called. It was called something else. But we would get the Crazy Bones from there, and I remember getting like trying to get a certain Crazy Bone, so you'd keep buying to try to get that Crazy Bone.
Mhm.
And it's so weird because I'm looking at a picture right now of Crazy Bones, and they're just stupid little characters. that are just like
They're just
I don't even
pieces
know.
of plastic.
They're just little pieces of plastic. They're so weird looking.
They were so fun to collect, though.
No, they really yeah. You put them in a bag and shit, and then you pour them out,
Yeah.
and you're like, look what I have. But that was like, I think that was my favorite memory of like collection was that like Pokemon cards were awesome and everything, but these were like toys. To me, it reminds me of my nephews collecting Funko Pops and playing with the Funko Pops. That's what this reminds me of, like how I collected these guys and I played with them too, you know?
Yeah. I feel like you unlocked a memory like in the back of my brain that I completely forgot about.
Dude, Crazy
I
Bones.
got so excited when you brought up the Crazy Bones.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
But yeah, that was like, yeah, that's like the best. That's like my favorite toy to think back on. That and I mean, I don't even know. Are Beanie Babies from the 90s?
Yes,
They
absolutely.
are, yeah. Oh my god, that
Dude.
was such a huge craze back then. I remember people would literally get in like physical fights over Beanie Babies. Like if you found a rare one in the store and like, I don't know, I remember there being like actual fights where people got arrested because they were like going at each other trying to get this Beanie Baby.
Yeah. So the biggest thing about the Beanie Babies is like nowadays you think, wow, a lot of these are probably worth a lot of money. Pay attention to what the innards of the Beanie Baby contain, because depending on the type of beads, it'll dictate whether or not they're actually worth something. And I like last time I was at my grandma's house, she still got a bunch of her Beanie Babies preserved like in one of their bedrooms, and I was looking at the contents of it and I'm like, damn, like it's made of those little beads that aren't worth a thing. So like the original beads that they utilized, those are actually worth something, I guess, if you were to sell it. But no, nothing else. Like if you have the old shit, it ain't worth shit, which is unfortunate because I'm sure all of us at somewhere in our families, we've got a whole bunch of Beanie Babies stashed away, but you can't sell it. Or you could, but you'll get like a couple bucks off of it.
Yeah, like it's like nothing.
Yeah.
I was never really that into them. I don't think I have any.
I remember having them and remembering how I need to play with them. So I'd rip off the tag and I just like play with them, right? And then I had my brother who saved some of them, and my mom, she'd like save some too. I don't remember if anyone were saved enough to be like a value to like get rid of later. But like in my head, I was always that. I think Beanie Babies was the first thing that made me be like, if I ever have anything for my kids, right, and I know they're gonna open it up and it's gonna be valuable later on in life, I think after thinking about Beanie Babies, part of me wants to be like, if I buy them something, I want to buy them one for them, one for collection. One for them, one for collection. Just in case. You know what I mean? Like example, like the Funko Pops, right? Like Funko Pops, they may be valuable later on. I don't know. It's possible. But it's like, once you open them from the box, the value, it's like buying a car. The value drops like that. So like if you want to get any value out of some of these things, I feel like one for fun, one for one for collecting later, right? But even then, maybe I'll forget that later on. I'll probably forget to do that when I'm older with a kid. But it's like in my head, I'm like, my mom and my brothers attempted to kind of protect them, but I didn't give a fuck at all. I just wanted to play with them.
Furbies. Do you guys remember those?
Oh, yeah, dude, they're crazy, dude.
Those were creepy. They'd like talk in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
3 in the morning, and you're just laying in your bed, and you hear its like creepy little voice in the darkness.
Yeah, man, that I would take the batteries out of them because I liked it at first, but then because it just kept going, I was like,
just too creepy.
Like, yeah, it's one of those things. Gizmo.
Do you guys remember Doodle Bears?
Yes, I remember Doodle Bears.
Hold on, are those the ones that you use a marker on? Yeah,
you can use a marker on, and there's the bear. Yeah. Dude, those are nuts, man.
I wasn't sure if that was more of like a girl thing or I was obsessed with those too.
Yeah.
Dude, Doodle Bears, man.
I would see him
Stretch Armstrong, dude, hilarious.
Stretch Armstrong, that probably could also, like, what decade was Stretch Armstrong like first introduced?
Let me look it up.
Because I remember,
I'm pretty sure it's the 90s, man.
Let's see.
You guys continue though.
But speaking of Stretch Armstrong, I know one of the toys that I remember getting from Toys R Us, R.I.P. Toys R Us.
Yeah. Oh my God, R.I.P.
Yeah. I remember
You know
I got
it's back, right?
Is it?
You're joking.
They
In
have.
what state?
There's one in Illinois. They have them in like Macy's stores. It's not like an actual. It's not like its own separate store, but it's like a big, like area of the Macy's that's like a Toys R Us again. Like I think they're trying to slowly bring it back.
Yeah, it's just there's no like you have Target.
1976. You're right.
Yeah.
They're not 90s. Sorry.
Yeah, way back. But with Toys R Us, it's just it's not like a viable store because you go to Target, you go to Walmart, their toy sections are pretty large. It's just hard to really sustain that like strictly toy store unless you go to a mall and there's a little shop dedicated to it.
Yeah, and they're tiny. They're not big.
Yeah, but
it's crazy because like the one that used to go the Toys R Us that I used to go to was the one over on Butterfield Road, Best Buy, and Discrete Play.
Yeah,
you know, and that one is now like a golf shop. Like depressing.
I was so sad when they got rid of that.
Dude.
That was my entire childhood.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that in Circuit City. Oh my god.
How the mighty have fallen. Okay, real quick, this is about toys a little bit, but Venture. Did you guys ever go to a Venture growing up?
No, what's that?
It was like Walmart before. I mean, Walmart existed, but Venture was like I think bought out. A lot of their stores were bought out. It had like the black and white sign.
Yeah,
dude,
it was like a department store, like a Target kind of.
Wow, hold on, I'm gonna send this into our chat. It's just like there was one right by my house in Forest Park. We would go to it every day. Yeah, look at that,
that
dude.
brings back memories.
And like,
look at that.
That Venture is now a Walmart. Do you remember Venture?
All their cars look the same. No, but all those cars look the same.
That's what I was saying, right?
They do.
Like that's the '90s. Everything just all
it's
the
like
cars
they only
were
made
the same
one
shit.
thing. Less options made it easier on people.
Yeah,
I bet.
exactly.
Get a car. All right, buy the car, and then you just buy a car. Don't gotta worry about what car. But yeah, no, I've actually never seen this store before. That's really interesting.
That's
I don't know how I
crazy.
missed it then. That's so weird.
There used to be one on 22nd, I think. You know where you know where the Home Depot is? By like Twin Peaks.
Yes.
There used to be one over there. We used to walk over there all the time when I was little.
Dude, Zany's was not Zany's.
Yeah, Zany Brainy was right over there too.
Zany Brainy was
across
there
the
too,
street.
right?
Yep.
Zany Brainy was a little down. It's by like where Old Navy and stuff is now.
Yeah, isn't Zany Brainy that location? Isn't that new like breakfast restaurant over there?
Oh, First Watch. Yeah.
Yeah, First Watch.
It was in that same like strip mall. Yeah.
I think it's the same strip mall or the exact same spot, but it's either one.
Yeah.
It's definitely in that area though. I remember going there when my aunts would visit. We go to Zany Brainy. But that's crazy. That's crazy. Dude, now I want this store to be open so I can go visit it. Dude. That's what they should do. They should just like open up one store. See, what's up with all these billionaires, man? Why don't these billionaires open up one store of these closed down concepts, man? Right?
Yeah.
Like have a Radio Shack just opened up. Just one Radio Shack.
There's a Blockbuster still in like.
Is it really? I thought that was gone now. I actually heard that there was one, but then I heard that it finally got ran out. But
there's one left. My cousin lives by it. I think it's in like Oregon or something.
Yeah.
By Eugene or something.
You ever see that meme where it's like, look, I found a fossil, and they have a picture of a Blockbuster card? So funny.
Yeah.
My brother found a receipt from Blockbuster a couple months ago.
Oh man.
What the heck?
All the way back from the 90s.
That's ancient.
I'm looking at their website, and they have locations in Anchorage, Fairbanks, Juneau, North Pole. They have all these.
Oh, do they?
Rapid City. Yeah, El Paso, Edinburgh, Brownsville, Sandy, Ridgemont. The heck? That's a lot of locations, and I don't know though. Like, contact us. Yeah, look at that.
Are you talking about Blockbuster?
Yeah, I'm talking about Blockbuster.
There's that many locations?
I guess so.
Oh wow.
But they're small, man. They're not a big amount.
Yeah. Did you guys ever like have movie nights with your family where you would just go to Blockbuster and like pick out a movie and like get candy, and it was like a whole thing?
Yeah, dude. Honestly, it was like going to the movies, but like bringing it home, bringing the movie home.
Yeah, it was like a whole experience. Like we don't have that anymore. You just sit on the couch and watch Netflix and pick whatever you want.
It's so sad.
Like it's convenient, but at the same time, it's like you don't have the experience and it's not as fun.
Yeah, it's definitely.
When I would go to my grandma's Climax, she lives out in Oak Park. We would always walk to this movie. It wasn't a Blockbuster. It was like its own like movie rental place. But we would always walk there. No, it was like it was like a one-off, like just probably privately owned type thing. It wasn't a franchise, but it was just like a couple blocks away. So every time we slept over there, me and my cousins, we would walk with my grandma to the movie shop, and we would rent a movie. We would choose a movie, and it was always like great. It was always VHS because no DVD back then, but
good old VHS tapes.
Yeah, you get the fees when you don't rewind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Be kind, rewind.
So fun. I love it, man.
I miss video stores.
Yeah,
I want to open one up.
You should, honestly. The crazy thing is, like, it's not viable as like something to actually do business wise, but it'd be like so cool nostalgically.
Yeah, people would appreciate it, but they're like, oh, I'm not gonna.
So much.
Why am I gonna pay money to rent this?
Does anyone even own a VHS player anymore?
No, Philip has a TV that has VHS in it still.
Like built into it?
Yeah, built-in TV.
God, that's wild.
Yeah.
My parents have one.
Really?
Yeah, like it's like one of those DVD VHS hybrids. So we've just had it for years, and it still works because just a few years ago I was looking at like family videos, like home videos and shit like that, because we have them, a lot of them on not DVDs, VHS and tapes. Yeah,
and DVDs.
Exactly. So that's always a good time.
Ooh, totally. But no, I was gonna say though, to follow up the whole like Blockbuster and like family video and stuff like that, like the one thing that keeps those people, like keep those places going, is the people that have that mentality, like Alison was talking about, how it's like they pull a full experience out of it. And I think it's interesting how like some towns hold on to those small videotape places because there's enough people in their area that come in frequently enough, right? And it's kind of funny how like even like Family Video, I don't know if you guys know Family Video.
Yeah.
But Family Video was the last place me and Ashley went to that had rentals. They were still moving pretty consistently, but then when COVID hit, one at a time, one was down, another was down, another was down, because it literally didn't matter because you couldn't go to them, and they couldn't afford to keep their employees. So it's just sad. It's just sad because that's just our reality. Sean?
I feel like a lot of places that used to be popular back in the 90s, like the technology that we have now has kind of erased it. Like malls, they're not a thing anymore as much as they used to be because you've got online shopping. Like everything's more convenient, but like you're not getting the experience that you used to get. You know what I mean? Yeah,
experiences being more like virtual than physical. Like the online experience, aka the UI, the user. Pat, what's UI? User. It's an
interface.
Yes. Okay. My dumbass. I couldn't get the word.
Interface.
Yeah.
In Alison's face.
Yeah, but just that's what it is now. Now you go from like having like a mall. Like there was this mall next to Venture where I used to live, and they would do this. They did this thing where like they had these different rooms themed like different movies. I don't remember the other movies, but I remember one of them was Jurassic Park because obviously I had an obsession back then. I loved those dinosaurs, but there was like this Jurassic Park room, and they had like Jurassic Park stuffed animals and stuff you could buy, and it was really cool because you're walking through this part of the mall and it has all this cool shit. Patrick,
when you're saying Jurassic Park, you were saying the section of it was Jurassic Park?
Yeah. It was themed. It was themed as Jurassic Park. Then the other section was like a movie, like it was another movie or franchise or something.
I was thinking about something different. I was thinking about what we were talking about, like R&R Video back when I was younger. We used to go to R&R Video instead of Blockbuster.
Yeah.
They used to have the adult section, and there was a curtain, so you couldn't go back there unless you were old enough to go back there. So you had to go past the curtain. That's what I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying that they broke the things up from like dinosaurs, blah blah blah. Action.
No, it wasn't
adult.
a video store like
Sean,
that or something. Yeah, so it was an adult section.
Okay.
It was very X-rated videos of dinosaurs getting it on, and it was very scary to watch as a child. No, I'm just
exciting. But exciting too. I mean, it had to be somewhat exciting too. It might have been kind of scary, but that's why you like horror so much, right?
Yeah,
Sean?
exactly.
Because it's like sexual now too.
Have you seen a Velociraptor and a T-Rex get it on? I mean,
no, and I don't know if I want to.
Sounds kind of traumatizing.
It's
yeah,
all right.
dude, that sounds like a horse getting it on with a human, man. That's scary as shit. Huge ass horse. Okay.
Anyway, real quick, R&R. So the best thing about
You remember
R&R,
R&R video?
yes,
Okay.
because whenever I would go to my cousin Mikey's house, he lived just a few blocks from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, they would get movies before they were officially released in stores. They would get them like a week or two earlier, and I loved it. So every time I went over to Mikey's, sometimes we would get my aunt or uncle to take us to R&R, to rent one of those movies when they came out. That was super cool. But what's that?
Super cool.
Oh,
Like
super
Superman?
cool. Yeah.
But no, R&R was I love how talking about Blockbuster made me remember R&R video, because R&R video
Yeah.
was the original for me, Allison.
Yeah.
Blockbuster had its own experiences as I got older, but R&R was the first thing. I don't even know if you knew what R&R was. Did you
Where
know
was
R&R?
that?
It was in
Lombard.
Lombard, Illinois. Yeah. Do
Yeah, I
you
have
know
no idea.
Lombard downtown? You don't know downtown Lombard, or do you know it at all?
No, I do. Like, and I've lived in Villa Park my whole life. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
We always went to the
It was a one-off. It
Blockbuster.
was a one-off location. I don't
Yeah.
think they had many locations. But yeah, no, Sean knows what's up, and I know what's up. R&R for life. Sean.
Yeah. And going back to family videos, so there's someone actually at my current place of work that I treated in our little nurse's office. He used to work as a manager at Family Video, and he was telling me about how I forget which location he was at. I don't know if it's the one closest to you, Pat, but I think it was the one that's like literally like a block over. You know how
Like
they were
Downers
like,
Grove?
yeah, it was somewhere in that area, and he was telling me about how once COVID hit, things just kind of like
They fired
tanked
so many
after that.
people.
And the owners are doing well because I don't remember what else they had going for them, but he said that they had their hands in like a bunch of other businesses anyways.
The pizza place next door.
Yeah, isn't that what that one changed to? The one by you? It's just
It's
now
the
one
large
big
pizza
yeah.
store.
Yeah, I'm
Or
not sure.
Pizza restaurant. It's a store for pizza.
Yeah, damn,
But yeah, no.
1946 is the origin of Family Video.
Dude, that's so crazy.
Oh,
how
never
old that
mind.
shit is.
Never mind. Founded in 1978. 1946.
okay.
Hey,
Just
there's no way. Did they have like VHS back then? I don't think so.
there
What
was
did
this
they
thing.
use?
No, there was this thing.
They gave out
Beta.
those fucking beta.
The what?
Have you guys heard
Beta
of Beta?
Aurora?
Is it Beta or something?
Beta
So
Auroric. Beta
on.
males.
no, it was like this
Beta
thing.
and alpha males.
Sony Betamax. Yes, my grandma used to, she might still have some of these. It was called Betamax. I'll send a picture in the
chat.
Yeah, it was like VHS before VHS, but the player for it looked kind of like one of those film projectors.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, dude, like
I
that
recognize
was
that.
I have no idea what that is.
it. Yeah, that's the Betamax. Like that
You
predated
have
the
to rewind
VHS.
it. You had to rewind it by like moving it backwards.
Probably, yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's so
Yeah.
crazy. It's like cassettes, man. It's like a cassette player, like a cassette.
Yeah.
That's crazy cool. That's awesome, man.
The
That's
Betamax
awesome.
was introduced in 75 in Japan, and then in early November of the same year it was introduced to the States. So that coincides with the the growth and the inception of things like Family Video. That's really interesting though.
AOL dial-up.
Ooh.
We should
Just that
Dude, one of us
obnoxious-
should have prepared. One of us should have prepared the actual like noising for it.
Oh man,
That's
that
so
was
funny.
when you try to use the phone when your mom's
It would
on the
kick you
internet.
off.
Yeah.
Or no, not at my house. Like I would pick up the phone, I'd press it, and I just hear like that feedback of the internet dial-up, and it's like, get off the goddamn internet! I'm trying to call someone. Yes,
Oh my
me as a
God.
little kid yelling that to my parents. No, I didn't yell that, but they would probably yell that to me when they were trying to make a call and I was on the internet.
AOL dial-up to me just always found. I always found it funny because I remember. I'm trying to remember how much I was into like using like the AOL chat and stuff like that, but like all
Yeah.
the screen names and all the like talking, and like I was talking to Ashley about how when she like experienced like chat rooms and stuff, she was way more into it than I was. Like she like talked to strangers and shit. I never talked to strangers. I only talked to like people I knew. And I didn't expect anyone else in my like life to be talking to other people. I just expected to be talking to like people I know. But as I got older, I realized like people talk to so many random people online. It was just she was making a joke about how like sometimes you go in like a chat room or something and you would like do a pool party. So everyone in the chat room would pretend that everyone's in a pool party. So they would be like putting on my swimsuit,
That is so
cannonball
weird.
into the pool,
Ooh.
stuff like that. I was like, that's so cheesy, but like,
What?
legit something that kids would do for sure.
That's so
This is all weird to you too? I legit thought that was the weirdest
I've never
thing.
heard of that being a thing before.
Yeah. So funny. Putting on my swimsuit.
Ooh, you want to hear an embarrassing story
Yeah, let's hear it.
from me? This might have been at the cusp of the 2000s, but I think it was at least 99. I went on. I was wanting to look up some saucy images of people, but not knowing how to Google. I was on eBay, and I was just like trying to look up pictures on eBay, and then like my parents were coming, so I just hit the backspace a lot, thinking that it was gonna like make everything go away. But then my parents had to sit down and talk to me afterwards about what I was looking up.
You remember what it was,
damn
though?
it. Oh no, it was just I might have like typed in Playboy or something, because that was like one of the few things where you knew, besides Cinemax, at night.
At night, fuzzy.
Yeah, it was always just Playboy. It was like the commonly known naked women type of thing, you know, for a little boy to be looking into. But yeah, I was on eBay. I thought eBay was like a search engine for that. Stupid.
Buying and selling naked bodies.
And then backspace, thinking that that's gonna erase everything. Nope.
Oh no, it does not. You have to close that fucking window, bro.
I had a lot to learn. Incognito mode could have used
Did not
you.
exist.
Could have used you back in the day,
Did
man.
not exist.
Yeah, so that was. God, I'm surprised I remember that story. That's wild.
You got any interesting stories about AOL and the internet? Your introduction to internet?
I didn't use the internet that much. Like, we didn't have dial-up in my house.
Oh,
You were
one of those families.
Yeah, we didn't
No, I'm
have.
kidding.
I don't think we got internet until like the 2000s.
Okay.
That I can remember. I just remember my friend had it, and it was like always super obnoxious, like the sound that it would make.
Yeah.
And then like her sister would get super pissed off because she'd like try to pick up the phone, and it would like fuck everything up.
Yeah. Those are the days. We used MSN as our like main internet provider. So I remember I remember seeing the MSN like whenever we were dialing up. Yeah, and then God, there was like fuck, I don't know. That was so long ago. AIM, we could get into that, but that was a 2000s thing, definitely, because once I was in middle school, so it's like what, early to mid 2000s. I was rocking it on AIM. Those away messages, you know, put some really depressing song lyrics in those away messages.
Oh god.
Let people know how cool you are. Did you guys ever make profiles? Like you could view profiles on AIM, and it was just text in like a color background, and you could do sections. I'll try to find a picture to send, but it was like connected to just your AIM account. Like, shit, I need to find something, but yeah, so that was before social media accounts.
No, I remember it.
We had AIM where we would talk. Then you could kind of make a profile, and then you got things like MySpace, Zanga, Facebook and all that. But that's out of the 90s zone, so let's dial it back a little
the
bit.
sad thing is that like it's really hard to stay in the 90s just because a lot of stuff overlapped from the 90s and they got bigger in the 2000s. But like some stuff, like I don't know, like I'm actually even thinking about this right now, and I might be wrong. I really hope I'm not wrong, but I probably am. Anyone remember 3D pinball?
Yeah, dude, that was on every single computer.
Every computer had 3D pinball. It was
the
just
space
like
one, right? Space pinball. Yep. I love that shit.
Pinball.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was basically pinball. It was just pinball on the computer, and like it was on the computer, so you didn't have to download anything. It just came with the computer.
Yeah.
But like that game was like my first like, oh, when I was bored, I just play that, whatever, right? Until like later on, we played more like online games. You know what I mean? Or like, example would be like Sonic when I was used to play Sega, or like. As I got older, we were playing GoldenEye on 64, you know?
Oh, GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, dude. Yeah, everyone play GoldenEye in this chat?
Yeah, let's transition into that topic because that's a doozy.
You
I
ever played
love
GoldenEye?
some GoldenEye.
I've never played it.
What?
What games did you play in 64?
Wait.
Anything?
Oh, on 64?
Yeah.
That was a big one on 64.
First person shooter game?
Is 64 a 90s thing?
Yeah. 1994, 1995.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a 64 when I was that young. I know we had a Super Nintendo.
Okay.
We had like Super Mario and stuff for that. But like when I did get a 64, it was like Mario Party and then like mostly racing games like Diddy Kong Racing or
Oh my God.
Mario Kart, Snowboard Kids.
You didn't get it though until you were like older? Like in the 2000s, you're saying?
I feel like it was.
Oh, yeah,
I feel like it was early 2000s.
That's crazy though. That's crazy how like, I mean,
So
it's not crazy as in like
is
bad.
this what you were talking about?
It might have been. Oh my God, you still have it?
I got this from my grandma. Has always had an N64 and a Sega Genesis. She got rid of the Genesis, but when I went over there like a few months ago, they're planning on moving eventually. This is my grandma from Oak Park. She still had the N64, so I was like, "Can I have it?" And it has this game, GoldenEye, the Star Wars Pod Racer game, and Tetris, new Tetris.
I love that game.
That's awesome. I still have an N64 too, but I have Mario Party 1 and 2. I don't have any of like the racing games and stuff.
So can we have a hangout and play N64? Pat, do you still have yours?
I still do.
Because we did that maybe like 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago at this point. But I remember in the shed at your parents' house, you hooked up this
garage. Yeah.
Oh yeah, duh.
It's okay. Same thing.
Have there
Around
ever
the same thing.
Have there ever been any cars in the garage?
Yeah, we got that all cleaned up a long time ago, but it's back to dirty again.
Okay, because I think that's why I thought shed. Because I don't think I ever saw a car in there when I went over to your house.
I remember hanging out in that garage.
Yeah, Alison remembers that too, for sure.
Dude, that was a cool spot, bro.
Big ass TV and everything.
Let's go hang out there.
Dude, not anymore. Like I said, it's all done.
Oh yeah,
it's all checked. That's in the past. Wait till I get a house. Me and Ashley get a house with a garage, dude. Bring it back, dude.
Yeah, fuck cars. Who needs those?
Do you remember that night that we like watched a bunch of 90s cartoons in your garage on the TV?
Oh, I mean, I feel like I've done that with a lot of people. Yeah. Well, do you remember what cartoons we watched or no?
I remember we watched Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh, I love Rocko's Modern Life. That's actually on my list. I think that was 90s.
Like looking back, I loved that show when I was younger, but then like I remember when we watched it kind of creeped me out a little bit.
It is creepy.
It wasn't when I remembered it.
Yeah,
I feel like as an adult, my brain processed it differently, and I was like, "This is kind of weird. Like, why?"
Go back to Ren and Stimpy, and that's gonna fuck you up, man.
Oh my God, I can't watch that. I can't watch it as a kid either. It freaked me out as a kid.
Dude.
Oh, did it really?
It gave me nightmares. I could not watch it.
Dude, it's fucking creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, where do they even get that like okay to like make that shit for kids?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of appreciate them for that though too.
I mean, they're risking their neck, dude.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you got it. You figured out how to, sneak that shit into a little kids show
without freaking them out.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna show you guys this guy, all the different designs that were back in the day and stuff. Do you remember like these cans?
I remember seeing like the one in the middle.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that
the one
one.
that looks like Venom. The one that looks like Venom is my favorite design.
Yeah, those are cool.
I was gonna say that was like one of the most interesting things about the marketing in the 90s is like the designs for everything was so cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know what it is about that. I mean, that's the reason why they always go back to them, and that's why we always see stuff like that blue design for like the cups, like the water cups or whatever. I forgot what, I don't know if there's like a name for it, but I feel like that came back, and that used to be really big back in the day.
If you go to Fuck Jerry, that famous like social media page.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you. This is always in their stupid little default picture and shit.
Yeah, and this was on saying this.
Yeah, and this was on the cups. Oh, we just sent the same photo, basically.
That's so funny. The exact same thing.
Yeah, you go to like Lucky Dogs or something.
Is that from the 90s?
Yeah, you go to like Lucky Dog or something like that. The pictures we posted. Do you remember this design?
Are those like Dixie cups?
Yeah, they're like Dixie cups.
Yeah, but they're like actual like fountain drink sizes for like restaurants.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so they
had them at like movie theaters too, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
that design was very common. But there was this restaurant over by my old place called Subtender, and we used to eat there all the time as kids, and I think my dad even would eat there when he was a kid because it was in Forest Park for decades, and it still is. Every time I go out there that way, I get their BG fries, their butter garlic fries. They're bomb. They're the best that I've had ever. Yeah, but I smell like shit. You know, like anything garlic, it just kind of creeps out of your pores for days.
Literally, everyone smells like shit. Yeah.
But like when you burp, you taste it again. It's like, hey, I'm glad that I had me some of those garlic fries. Oh, but no, Subtender that's like the most iconic restaurant, and it's like those mom and pa joints where you go in there and they have like the colored seats that are like bolted to the floor, the little tables. They have like random picture designs just like around the restaurant. You know what I'm talking about? I miss that aesthetic. Like going to one of those, like they don't accept credit cards, like the real like old school,
besides Discover.
Yeah, no, shit, like cash only type shit, like those cash kinds only. Of restaurants. Yeah, that takes me back. I miss seeing restaurants like that around here.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I can't even think of that many good restaurants right now. I don't really have any set down right now, but I wanted to hear if you had more than just that one.
Ooh, Taco Bell. But the old design, when it was like the bricks and like it looked like they were trying to get like this Adobe look to it.
Can you put an image on the
I'm gonna look it up. But like, do you remember that, Allison?
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't that long ago that they still had that. I feel like they just recently made them like more modern within the last like decade.
Yeah, marketing is like a crazy cycle. How they literally like wait years to just come back to a design. So weird.
And it's so funny because like there's this place in Forest Park that I drive by when I go down there, and you could tell it used to be a Taco Bell because it has the same exact layout, but it's not a Taco Bell. This is like so the one I'm sending isn't one that I've experienced, but it essentially shows like a similar point. Okay. The one I'm talking about is kind of similar, and instead of that Taco Bell sign, it's the one that you recognize today.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I remember that.
Oh, this one's better. Hold up. But yeah, and like when you see certain stores and they still have that same architecture, it's like, you used to be a Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut's another one. Pizza Hut has a very particular roof to it.
Uh-huh.
So it's like you look at places that used to be a Pizza Hut, you're like, hey, you're still a Pizza Hut in spirit.
Like, too bad, you'll always be a Pizza Hut.
Yeah, exactly. But Allison, restaurants back in the day.
I don't know if this was a 90s thing, but I just remember going there all the time as a kid. Old Country Buffet.
Ooh, yeah.
Dude, all the time.
Same here.
I feel like man. I remember they had like a smoking area, which like restaurants don't have that anymore.
Yeah. It's disgusting too.
I loved that place though. It's so gross now thinking about like buffets, especially after COVID. Like
I remember the last time. I remember when the last time we went, I think it was after we went and I don't know. I don't want to be too disrespectful in speaking about this, but I'm just saying it because that's what it is. We were there and we were like kind of young, me and my brothers. My family was there, my mom and dad. And my mom was noticing that there was like a gentleman that kept going up into the into the food itself, and he would pull food out of it like directly, put his fingers into it, and he was some sort of disabled, mentally disabled. I don't know what exactly it was. I don't know. It was not autism. Like what else? Let me try like Down syndrome or something. Yeah. Wasn't 100%, but it was part of he was part of a group of other people that were also like, it was like an outing they had, and like it just like grossed Philip out, and Philip was like, I'm done eating. I'm not eating here ever again. And then we never did. I think that was the last time
that was the thing with buffets. Like, you kind of had to expect, like, not only like disabled people or like older people, but children would go up there and like stick the spoon in their mouth and then stick it back in the food. I saw that happen all the time.
It was disgusting, and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's food out in the open just sitting there. Like, it's gonna be gross.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, I loved it when I was a kid, but like, God, I could never go back to it.
No.
It's honestly, at this point, I feel like it makes more sense to not have those types of places. I mean, the one I can think of is like Cece's Pizza. You ever been to Cece's Pizza in a while?
That place was nasty. They had flies all over their pizza every time I went there. Oh God, it was so gross.
Yeah, last time I went there, it wasn't that bad. I think I may have gone with you a few times, Patrick, because it was right there. It was right there by my parents' house.
Yeah. And then they moved.
Yeah. But just buffets in general, they really need it to be like safer.
Yeah, basically they need like a security guard watching and kicking people out when they like do that shit. Without a doubt. Like, straight up, like protecting that stuff. And as soon as someone does something gross, like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, get out of here. It's a little kid.
Get out of here.
The guard picks him up by his shirt. Get out of here.
Throws him. But like, no, I mean, I feel like back in the day it was less like pointed out almost, maybe. I mean, I'm sure maybe there was a sense of people being disgusted, but like, I don't know. I mean, when I was a little kid, I was not obsessed, but I was always believing in like the 5-second rule and, you know, drinking out of the hose and like gross shit that technically is like nowadays gross.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, maybe that's different now. I don't know how you guys feel about stuff like that, but I don't know. Golden Corral is still a buffet, and I don't know where else there are other buffets.
Yeah, that place was kind of icky.
Gone.
That place was icky last time I went to Golden Corral.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's still a thing, especially after COVID. Like, I wouldn't want to eat at a buffet.
No idea.
I think it was such a popular thing back then that people just didn't really think about it.
Or care, yeah.
But like now,
Nuh-uh, no way.
Nasty.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
Dude, totally.
Fun restaurant story. Not fun, actually. I was too little to really know what was going on, but there was a Burger King by my old house. I think this Burger King was in Maywood or something like that. But that was the first time, I saw someone get jumped in person. Me, my brother, and my parents were sitting down. We were eating our food, and then there's a couple people in line, and I think maybe one or two people just kind of tackle this guy down, and they just start like wailing on him and shit like that, and like everyone in the restaurant's kind of freaking out, and my parents like calmly got me and my brother and walked us out the back door. And I think as like a kid, and like as a kid, I was just kind of like, what's going on? Like, what the heck? Like, I don't know what's going on here. My parents are probably freaking out. I would freak out if like I was with River somewhere and like some big ass fight broke out. Especially now, you don't know if someone's gonna pull a gun out nowadays.
Oh hell no! Yeah, exactly. No,
there was a shooting at an Amazon building by my house in the parking lot. No one was hurt except the car. A car got 2 bullet holes in it, but that was it. But like, you just hear about shit like that. That stems from just minor altercations nowadays. The second people start fighting, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Fuck yeah, you're gone.
And I think you know this, Pat. I don't know if Alison knows this, but every time I go to a restaurant, what seat do I have to sit in? Patrick.
Alison, do you know?
Yeah, do you know what seat I have to sit in?
I know, but Alison, do you know?
I'm going to assume that you have to be facing the door so if someone's like coming
Sean
in.
literally has to face the door.
Every time I have to.
You can't not do that.
like every time we went to Denny's and all that shit, I was probably sitting facing the doorway.
Yeah.
He had to. He had to. It was just one of his little quirks.
I mean, that's
Dr.
understandable.
Schnapper.
And my Dr. Schnepper, yeah. Side of ranch, seasoned fries, side of ranch, Dr. Schnepper.
I'm like looking at all these different things that I was like originally looking at before, and they're not actually 90s, so I'm like really annoyed.
You're following up with them, and you're like,
I'm just double checking
whoops.
on the time frames, just because like the thing about it is that, like sometimes you'll look something up and you'll be like, oh, you'll find something that confirms, like what's that called? Bias confirmation or something, where like you think that something came out then, so you look it up and then someone else confirms it. I think that's to happen a couple times right now. I'll just tell you the ones I was actually looking at. I was looking at Choco Tacos because Choco Tacos, they're actually in 88.
Was that the polar bear guys, Klondike? Did they make those Choco Tacos? Or are you talking about the one that was released by Taco Bell?
No, Choco Tacos were invented. Oh wait, no, actually I'm wrong too. They were invented in 1983. They're the ones that are the little tacos and they're the chocolate on them. And then they're like,
yeah, they are.
And
Klondike.
I don't know if you know this, but those also, I think they're Klondike. Yeah, they're also being discontinued, or at least someone says that.
I heard about that. That's like a recent
There was
thing.
a whole like controversy about it. People were losing their minds over it.
Yeah.
Right? So, but sadly, that's not 90s. And then the other thing I was looking at was Shark Bites. I remember those gummies when I was a kid, Shark Bites.
I thought you meant like sharks biting people. I was like, dude, that's
yeah, man.
as old as time.
Right? But yeah, that one was 88. Shark Bites was 88.
Let me check out Shark
Kudos,
Bites.
if you remember Kudos, that was 87. Kudos were like granola bars with chocolate on them, like drizzle on it, and then they had like M&M's, Snickers, Dove. So basically, they were made by Mars.
Granola cereal bar produced by Mars.
Mm-hmm. So Kudos were fucking delicious, but I'm 100% wrong. So for everyone listening, I'm a fucking idiot who didn't look into it deep enough, and I looked up 80s things. I'm sorry, don't hate me.
No, actually, this video is actually called 90s and a little bit of 80s.
And a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah,
By
you
the
have
way,
to
if
whisper
any of
it.
these are 80s, because maybe we didn't do the proper thing, leave us alone, bitch. We don't care.
Well,
No,
a
I'm
lot
just
of
kidding.
it's
We care a little bit.
experience, and like we didn't exist in the 80s, so I still feel it's applicable to utilize, in this
So the same way, especially
conversation.
if we're like experience it in the 90s too.
Right.
A lot of the 80s stuff was like really, like, I don't know. I feel like I connect a lot of 80s stuff with 90s because it was very like popular in the early 90s.
No, exactly.
So.
Yeah, and we existed only in one of those decades, right? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
and kind of
But,
like
like-
you having the N64, but in the 2000s, I mean, you could still talk about your experiences with the N64 because it launched in the 90s. I would still say that's applicable too. Keenan and Kel, excellent.
Kenan and Kel. Just Nickelodeon hits, man. They're just hit after hit after hit, dude. Kenan and Kel was one of the good ones I really fucking keep thinking about to this day, just because I don't know if it kicked off their career to like the stardom that they all, you know what I mean? Because it's like obviously Keenan blew up enough to like become part of SNL and stuff like that, and then Kel is still pretty prevalent, but I don't know if he's not like in like the famous eyes of people anymore, but like he's still pretty prevalent. But I feel like Keenan and Kel were a spin-off of all that, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those shows, even Drake Bell's show was a spin-off from all that. All that was the SNL of kids,
Yeah.
which was 90s, I think. So, I don't know if you guys have any opinions or perspectives on Nickelodeon shows, and that's the first one I'm talking about is Kenan and Kel, just because, Kel loves orange soda.
Yeah. So it was created in 1994, all that. So you're good.
Cool.
You're good. Who's that guy who was like in charge of the shows after? Oh,
Wait, are we
Dan-
talking about the...
Dan Schneider.
Yeah, we
is
want to
it?
talk about him.
Creeper.
Creepy
Oh,
guy.
Yeah.
well, we can. I mean, did he create these
Wait,
shows?
Hold on. Listen to
Did
this.
he create these shows?
Yeah. He had a big hand in creating, especially the newer ones.
Oh.
So Dan Schneider
Sure.
is the Harvey Weinstein of kid shows.
Dude.
All that's the SNL. Dan Schneider's a fucking Weinstein.
He is the Weinstein, and
Fuck
it's
that
crazy.
guy.
He was in Good Burger. He was the
Yep.
owner of Good Burger. Remember?
Yep.
That's so
And
crazy.
I love Good
dude.
Burger. Good Burger. Yeah. I love
Dude,
Good
that's
Burger because
crazy,
it's
man.
like, it's a classic, but when he comes on screen, it like puts a bad taste in your mouth. It's like, oh,
it's fucking terrible, man.
He went to Harvard, but he dropped out, by the way. Just so you guys know about this.
That's what happens when you drop out of Harvard, bro. You become a pervert.
Yeah. He just looks like a pervert.
Yeah, look at that's like recent too.
He just gives off that vibe.
And that's a recent picture. That's Keenan, and that's Keenan. And
yeah, you can tell because is that Josh Peck right there?
That's Josh Peck. Yeah.
He's like buff.
Yeah.
Buff and hot.
Oh wow, is that Schneider in the middle?
That's him now. Yeah. That's him now. Damn. Yeah, that's Cal. And look, that's Victorious.
Dude,
I don't know how recent maybe this isn't recent, maybe somewhere recent, because Victorious is is basically the center line thing they're talking about with that whole controversy. Because well, I think Victorious, no, it was something else. Sorry, but Victorious had Grande in it, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Grande? And then the show before Victorious, I think that was the one with McCurdy and
iCarly.
No, the other one.
Oh,
Sam and Me.
Sam and Cat. No, Sam and Cat was after Victorious, I thought. So
I don't know the timeline.
Victorious and Sam and Cat. So we had Drake and Josh. iCarly. Victorious. Sam and Cat.
Okay. So then, yeah, but like Sam and Cat's where they were talking about a lot of weird shit happening with Dan Schneider.
Yeah.
But I guess he was doing creepy shit all that time. It's crazy to think about that, man. You're going along, you've been doing this career for so long, and like it's almost it almost makes you wonder what the fuck's going on. Like, how much deeper do people have to go into like directors and producers' career to make sure that it isn't just like widespread everywhere else or anywhere else? You know what I mean? Like, these people are being caught in such minimalistic ways. Like, it's almost as if like they right now I don't even know what they're doing with it. I don't even know if they're looking into it further or whatnot, but he's being put out there as, you know, being a creep. So like my thought process is like, is this like just what happens with these powerful men or something? Or like, I wonder what's the connecting force that's like getting like these powerful people to be so shitty.
So when Viacom CBS did an investigation, they found that Schneider was allegedly yelling and throwing tantrums, kind of like his character in Good Burger, by the way. That's exactly how he was.
Exactly.
He was probably mad during the filming and they just videotaped it. And he would send angry emails and texts to the child actors outside of working hours.
Yeah.
He also would ask for shoulder and neck massages.
So
wow.
Weird.
But supposedly he alleges that he never interacted with actors in any way, texting or otherwise, that should make anyone uncomfortable. So it brings me a little peace that we don't have any sexual evidence yet.
Yeah, just being creepy.
Because that, you know how traumatizing that would be for these child actors. But I mean, so would aggressiveness, right? Having an aggressive nature.
Any sense of feeling like you're a young child and an adult's doing that too. Yeah, for sure.
The director of Jeepers Creepers, Victor Salva, he's somebody who is actually a pedophile. He's actually been convicted of molestation charges. Still making movies, by the way, because he's a piece of shit. That's somehow. True.
And who was the other guy who was that other famous director who still gave Polanski, Polanski.
Roman Polanski. So it brings me peace that Dan Schneider allegedly wasn't acting like those guys with his child actors.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, man. And still being that aggressive around the children, that's fucked up.
Fucking line, bro.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I mean, it's sad to think that like there's a connection because like the nostalgia we were talking about before, like it's a good nostalgia thinking about Nickelodeon shows just because they're like, sadly now if I go back, like I tried to rewatch all that and I was like, this isn't.
It's not that funny. The Amanda Show is funnier, honestly.
Yeah, Amanda Show is really funnier.
Amanda,
like,
please.
I just couldn't go back to it. But like the nostalgia of it was like, this was a good time in my life. So like thinking back that there's any negative connotation next to it makes it even like ruins the nostalgia that's there. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's possible that like you don't need to connect that kind of bullshit to what your nostalgic love was. Like just because someone's a terrible like producer, director, or whatever, doesn't mean that everything that was fun is lessened now. You know what I mean? It does give a weird kickback though. It makes you feel like, God damn it, these like actors had to go through this creepiness, you know?
So I just talked to Taylor and she gave me this information that
Sure.
Dan Schneider apparently has a foot fetish. And if you watch some of his shows, he
Did you
focuses.
not hear me say that?
Did you say that? I'm sorry, I
did,
wasn't
yeah.
listening.
That was like the main thing that people would talk about is like how creepy he was, and they would like
mentioned it earlier, I
incorporate
guess. I don't know.
foot-related jokes in the shows.
Oh God.
But
He loved it.
no one picked up on it at first, and then once everything came out about how creepy he was, and you watch back and you see all the like creepy foot shit, you're like that's disgusting.
Yeah, I didn't hear you say that. But no, it's probably because I was talking to her when she came out here. But yeah,
so
no,
funny.
that's icky.
Yeah.
Like when Quentin Tarantino does it, it's like, okay, it's fine to have a foot fetish with these adults, but then like you got a bunch of children on your show, like maybe don't do. Oh God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh Pat,
that's
why would you
creepy.
send me that? Oh no. No, it's it's a photo of
They have like peanut butter on their toes or
Sam
something.
and iCarly.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Victorious where
And there's
they're like putting their feet in a tub of water with like leeches or something, and the leeches are sucking on their toes, and it's just like this
Alison
really
is
creepy, weird, uncomfortable like scene.
Oh.
Yeah, so Alison, simultaneously as you were telling that story, Taylor was telling the same exact story about the sucking toes. Oh God. Ugh. Oh no, I didn't know. I could have.
Yeah. It was like a consistent thing throughout the
I
show.
could have went a whole lifetime without seeing these pictures. I never
Yeah,
watched the
that's
show
messed
on the
up.
bottom. Actually, the two shows.
Oh God.
I don't remember this episode.
Why would
of
you
iCarly.
tell me this?
It's hilarious.
This episode,
It's gross though.
this podcast took a turn for the worse right now.
Well, at
Just-
least no one gets this. We're seeing the gross shit. You guys can look it up, but you guys don't have to worry about it.
No, well, okay, so yeah, that.
Oh, dude, this is actually even funnier than. Look at this one.
Hold on,
Sorry,
let me see
it's not.
this.
It's not a
Do
girl.
I want to?
It's not a girl. It's not girls.
Oh.
Oh, you know what?
It's Josh
I
Peck.
could.
It's
Yeah,
Josh.
I could vibe with this one. No, I'm kidding.
Showing his little feet. But no, that's.
Oh no.
I don't know if you were listening when I was talking about how like, so I was like separating the art from the actual product, or the art from the producer or art creator. I was just saying like just because Dan Schneider made these things and he might be a scumbag, which more than less he is a scumbag. The art was still good.
Yeah.
At least it was good enough for me to enjoy.
And
it.
I could
So it's, like,
attribute that
kinda
to
nice.
the actors. You know, we can
Yeah,
attribute
exactly.
it to them.
I'm giving it to I'm giving it to them. Gundam Wing. I never watched that.
Yeah, Gundam Wing. I just want to make sure. Yeah, 95. It was probably a couple years later by the time it hit. But this is really like the first and one of the few anime that I've ever watched. And I used to watch it religiously when it came on Adult Swim. Toonami.
Oh, fuck, look at that
You remember
shit.
Toonami?
Yeah,
and
that shit looks cool.
There was a movie that was released too called Endless Waltz, and that was released I think at the end of the 90s, and it was a really beautiful ending to this series. Me and one of my close friends in Forest Park, I would always go to his house after school, and we would watch Gundam Wing. I have the first half of it on DVD, I think, unless I sold it. But I think it was like 50 episodes. That was a series. Pat, what you got?
Can you cut right here if when you go back to editing? I wanted to know how long we've been recording for, just to see whether or not we have over an hour long. Do you know?
I'm not going to tell you.
Please tell me. I want to know. Because we got to know. Because we got to find an organic way to cut it in half if it's too long, right?
No, we could keep it long, dude. It doesn't
Are you
matter.
sure?
Yeah, we're at
Okay.
an hour and a half.
Okay.
We could trim, like, I'll go through and I'll trim some of our, like, down, like, moments and this moment right here. Or just trim all of Allison's parts, honestly. Just cut her entire part of the...
Can you, please?
It's going to only be your parts in this. Like, I'm going to cut out me and Pat.
It's just me talking to myself the whole
Not
time.
even hearing what the questions are. You're just going on and on. No, but yeah, we're at an hour and a half. I want to go into movies next. If you want to, if we want to segue into that, unless you guys had other shows. Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, Gundam was one of those interesting things that I like heard about a lot, but I actually don't remember actually watching it. But like the way I see of it, the way I see of it, no, the way I think of it, it reminds me of like like those movies with like Godzilla, like the Titans and shit like that. But
Kaijus.
I'm not even sure. Yeah, is there kaiju's in it, or is it basically just these fighting robots? Okay. It almost reminds me of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, we can go. But if you want to move on to another topic, Sean, I'm ready to move on to another topic too.
Yeah. All right. So I'll kick this topic off. So I want us to kind of get into, we talked about 90s movie or 90s TV shows. Now let's go ahead and talk about some movies in the 90s. For me, one of the most influential ones I would say that I've had experience with was Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And that was a movie I would religiously watch at my grandma's when I spend the night there, which is crazy because it's like rated R. But when it's rated R for like language and violence, I guess my parents weren't that, protective of, having me. But yeah, Terminator 2 is probably a big one for me. It really got me into my sci-fi and action interests. So I would put it up there as probably one of the most influential from the 90s. Patrick, what you got?
And you're comparing it to the first one too? Like when you're thinking of Terminator, you're going with like, I like 2 more than 1? Or you're just saying out of the ones you remember watching 2 more than 1?
So I think I watched 2 before 1. Yeah. So I thought I think I watched 2 before 1, but when I was a kid and I eventually watched 1, it didn't get my interest as much. But I think I could I think that's because in the second one, the main character of John Connor is played by a kid or relatively a child or a teenager.
Yeah, it's a teenager.
Myself back then, I could probably relate a little bit more to that kind of character since most of the movies I'm watching are like adults. So seeing it like that, I thought that was an excellent movie, and that really shaped, I think, a lot of my interests nowadays. That was the genesis of it all.
Okay. And because I was gonna say that movie reminds me of like it's one of those examples where the second movie could be argued be better than the first, right? Because like Terminator 2 is just such a, like, the design from the first one was like, oh, it's kind of cool, Terminator's coming back, he's trying to kill Sarah Connor, and that's the whole plot, right? Like he's just trying to kill. But then you go, well, now that Terminator is back, the same one we're used to from the first movie, but it's not the same one. It's different reprogramming and stuff like that. So I think it was like kind of interesting to see like, what is that like concept? Like a immovable object.
An unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Yeah, it's like that in a concept where you just got this Terminator that's going against another Terminator that's like they're both almost equal level of like power.
Absolutely.
So it's like what's gonna happen, and then also you don't. But it's like interesting too because you don't feel the sense of in that movie. You don't feel the sense of like. I mean, obviously you want Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator to win, but like still, it's just a robot. It's not like a real person. So like if it died, it'd be less of an issue.
I was sad when he died though. He does the thumbs up as he goes into the the lava, whatever the molten stuff is.
I don't know. I just like I appreciate the fact that they had that like head to head of these two amazing forces, and I don't know, it's just really awesome. Because the first one was just basically like this huge ass fucking monster chasing her around this whole time, So cool though.
Yeah, so I will say that James Cameron directed Terminator 2, which makes him one of the best sequel directors. Even though he directed the first Terminator and the second, he didn't direct the first Alien, but he directed Aliens, and that was 80s, but it just kind of solidifies him as the best sequel director of all time. Because he did Aliens, then he did Terminator 2, and I'm sure the new Avatar movie is going to be better than the first one. Because at this point, he's got how many years into it? It better be.
Yeah, no. Fuck.
Alison, what you got?
My favorite movie from the 90s was The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh my god.
I cannot tell you how many times I've watched that movie, and I still like consistently watch it.
Was that the last Lindsay Lohan movie you liked?
No, she's done some good movies.
What else?
Mean Girls.
Herbie. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, you're right. I'm being judgmental. My bad. I was saying Herbie Fully Loaded. Herbie.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see that one either.
I just remember that people were talking shit about it. Okay. What year? Do you remember when you watched that? How young were you?
I don't know. It was maybe like 6 or 7.
Did you want to be that character? You wanted to move up to a rich life and live in a mansion?
No, I wanted a secret twin that I didn't know existed.
You
I
guys
wanted
could,
a
like,
twin
swap
to come
off.
out of nowhere and be like, hey, like, let's be besties.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That's actually really cool.
You know, it took me a while to realize that it was just Lindsay Lohan playing the two characters.
Right? I always thought she
I
had
thought
a
she
twin.
was like the Olsens. Like, I thought she had an actual twin in real life.
Yeah, it blew my
That's
mind when I realized it was just her.
Yeah, it was crazy. What about like cartoon movies from back then?
I love you guys. You're so funny. Can I do one more? Can I do one more live action?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, not live action, but what I always loved was the Ninja Turtle movies.
Ooh, Cowabunga.
The live action ones?
Yeah.
Live action ones.
Those creep
And then
me out.
Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas.
You
I
remember
don't know
Three
what that
Ninjas?
is.
Rocky loves Emily. Remember
Rocky,
that? I
Emily.
forget which one. Maybe it's the second one, Kickback.
Yeah.
Dude, Three Ninjas
Hey,
was the
Alison,
shit.
I'm posting it here.
That looks so corny.
It's so corny.
Rocky, Tum Tum,
Look
and
at their
Colt.
bowl cuts.
Yep,
Wow.
Rocky Tum Tum.
Yeah, they
It
got
was
the
super
masks
corny.
too.
But no, I mean the original the live action Turtles was like the best. Even though it wasn't like the best movie script and everything, it was still really fun.
Yeah,
lot
dude,
of
you
fun.
watch them nowadays and it's still like they
Still
hold
pretty
up
good.
really well because they're like PG-13, so it's like as adults we could also appreciate parts of it. But
By
those
the way-
suits, the development of those suits are like, I don't know, I was impressed with how they made
So
them.
impressive. So impressive. And you know what's crazy though? Looking at like the list of 90s movies and stuff when I was looking at before, dude, we could do literally a whole podcast just off all the movies because there's so many movies in the 90s that were just fucking delicious. Mortal Kombat, fucking Power
Mortal
Rangers
Kombat.
movies.
Dude, that was the first movie
You
I saw
know.
in theaters. Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. Fuck, so much
First
good shit.
ever.
And then fucking Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
That was late 90s. There's just a lot of good 90s movies, man. You have Clueless was 90s. It was 95.
Oh,
And then
dude, that was
Hocus
I
Pocus
loved
was
it.
in the 90s. Yeah, there's just a
Hocus
lot.
Pocus is a good one.
Dude, so good. She's All That was 99. It just hit the thing.
I saw not another teen movie before I saw She's All That. And like the main purpose of that movie was to parody She's All That.
Dude, for real though, man, you like miss out on the whole context completely
Yeah.
by doing that, Sean.
I know. And I did the same thing
Completely.
like with one of the scary movies I watched before I watched the actual movie. It was parodying. And it's like it ruins
Was
it
it
'cause
Scream,
I'm like,
was it? Because that would
um,
ruin it completely,
no.
especially the beginning.
oh dude, I love Scream.
And
Yeah, I
pulls out
saw
the
it.
fake boob.
Yeah, the silicone or whatever, but
Yeah. Fucking nuts.
Land Before Time. The first one was in '88, but you guys remember Land Before Time?
I don't want to think about it.
Oh man,
That was a good
It's
one.
sad.
yeah,
We used to pretend our lettuce was like tree stars,
yeah. It always made me hungry when they eat the tree stars.
right? And that's how our mom got us to eat our lettuce and our like spinach and stuff. She'd just tell us that they were tree stars, and it worked.
That's clever. I
It does
just
work. It sounds like it
before
works.
this podcast, I was waiting for Taylor to get home, and I was sitting with River on the couch, and I put on The Land Before Time, and he was all snuggled up with me, like he was watching it, but like 2 minutes into the movie, Taylor got home, so he didn't give a fuck about me no more.
There's some dark
I'm
shit
Tell me,
behind that movie, though. Did you know
Oh,
that?
Ducky.
Don't tell me. Go ahead.
Do you want me to ruin it? Oh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
ruin it.
Yeah, I know,
Ruin it.
but yeah, tell Pat the story of Ducky. Oh, it's so tragic, man. It's so fucking tragic.
The little girl that did the voice of Ducky, her father was abusive, and he ended up. Did he murder the mom too? I know he murdered her. Was it like the whole family?
It looks like Sean's looking it up.
Oh.
No, actually, hold on.
disgusting.
Taylor sent me a screenshot from the Salmon Cat Twitter, and it says, "Right on the bottom of your foot and take a pic and use this hashtag. We'll
Oh,
retweet
no.
and follow." Like,
That's too
oh,
funny.
are you gonna? You won't be able to see it,
That's
but
So
No, it's
creepy.
too bad.
disgusting.
That's too funny.
But no,
But
her
no,
dad. Her dad murdered her. Ducky.
Just
Yeah.
her though, or the mom too?
Let me see. Land Before Time.
No, that's like, dude,
Ducky
that's fucking
murder.
depressing.
She was like super little
She was
too.
like, yeah, she was like 11 or
How
13.
Wait, was it after the first movie, or what was it? Like, what was the time
I think
frame?
it was after the first movie.
So
she
first
finished
movie
the
was
first movie?
98. or
Okay.
88, I mean. And then she
That means
died.
they replaced her then? They had to replace her character?
I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, regardless of
Oh.
that, still fucked up.
Are her parents' deaths?
But like,
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
no.
those
It was
kinds
a
of
murder
stories.
suicide, all three of them. Oh
Okay,
no!
yeah.
And this
I
was
figured
like
it was the mom too.
this was like the same year the movie came out, I think. Oh no!
That's fucked.
Oh god!
Yeah,
can't
I feel
even-
like after I found that out, it kind of like ruined the movie for me because that's all I think about.
Yeah, she died in 88. Oh god! It makes me want to like appreciate that movie more, though. You know? Oh, Ducky.
Yeah, I could see that.
R.I.P. Ducky.
Yeah, R.I.P. Ducky.
But Chomper, was that the name of the baby T-Rex that they befriend? Chomper. What did they call the T-Rex's big tooth?
I don't
Sharp
remember.
tooth?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they had sharp tooth and all that.
Long necks.
Yep, long necks. Littlefoot's the main character. Yeah, so Sharptooth is the T-Rex. Long neck. I don't know, that's just... Man, you fucked me up with that story. I didn't want to remember that.
Every time someone brings it up,
remember
that's all I think
Yeah,
about.
I know.
I know.
But I still, yeah, I was a big fan. I watched all of them until I was too old to care about the new ones that were coming out. That's how I was with it.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like
I get ya.
maybe I watched up to the 5th one.
Yeah. That's probably the saddest thing, man, is when like you're like growing up with something, but they keep putting it out there, but you're getting older, so you're not like interested in watching little kid stuff.
Yeah.
Because you hit that age sooner or later. Then basically you just forget about it. It kind of reminds me of like SpongeBob. Like SpongeBob was like my world when it first came out and
Yeah.
everything. And then at a certain point I just stopped watching it. And now there's so many episodes and so many seasons of SpongeBob that I have no idea what any of these episodes are. But I'm sure like if I went back to it, I could watch the rest from the last episode I've ever watched, and it could probably take me like fucking years maybe. No, maybe not. But like it would take me a long time to finish. You know how like some people are like, "Oh, I want to start a new TV show," but like they're already on like 20 seasons. You know, and you're like, how am I gonna fucking watch all these things, you know?
Yeah,
That's how I
River.
feel about SpongeBob. Like I don't think I could ever come back. Same with Simpsons. Like I couldn't watch all of Simpsons. I think there's just so much to go back. It would
Yeah.
take forever to get back to like to get to now. Yeah, Sean.
Yeah, so River watches Camp Coral, and it's like a 3D animated SpongeBob series that they're like going into now. It's not
Okay.
bad. It still kind of has the same charm that SpongeBob had.
Yeah.
But what else did you just bring up? I lost my train of thought. You talked
Me?
about SpongeBob, and then before you stopped with SpongeBob, you brought up another show.
Oh, I was talking about The Simpsons.
Simpsons. Okay, yeah. So Simpsons, I can't really vibe with. Same with South Park and Family Guy.
Oh,
All
I'm
three of
keeping up.
those?
I'm keeping up with South Park.
Family Guy's good. I don't like the Simpsons.
Family Guy
like
fell
South
apart. Yeah.
Park.
Yeah, like I just South Park will come in with like some haymakers of episodes, and then I'll watch like another one, and I'm like,
Fuck this episode.
like the PC principal was one of the best developed characters they've ever done. Like
He's a
they
mega
gave
job
that dude
still.
a whole ass arc. That whole
He's a dude.
season, it was incredible.
You're still doing a good job. I love PC Principal. He's funny.
Yeah, but it's just those three shows always kind of went hand in hand when I was growing up, and I just kind of lost interest in following up. Rick and Morty has kind of been that main cartoon show that I want. Don't make that
Okay.
face.
I
Don't
hate that show.
no, don't make that face.
So bad.
I know
That's
that
the only cartoon that I really watch now.
other cartoons I can think back about that like I really love is like Dexter's Lab and then Doug. I love
yeah,
I
those
love
are
seeing
good.
memes from Dexter's Lab where they're like, what does they say? Nickelodeon loves giving like the women huge butts or something.
Really?
Like they got
Oh,
like, big butt addiction because there's literally like like a screenshot of like Dexter on top of his mom's.
You
butt.
mean Cartoon Network?
Cartoon Network? Yeah, Cartoon Network.
Oh, I
yeah.
was so confused for a second. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I got confused
Okay.
myself. I
Yeah.
confused myself.
oh yeah. His
like-
mom.
he's, riding on
They
his
all had
mom's
like
butt.
big hips and big butts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
huge hips and butts. And Dexter's like literally on top of her big butt, and it's just like as a seat. But
Yeah.
Doug Funny, I also thought Doug Funny was funny. I like how they used like the diversity of Doug was very interesting. The more I think about it, like every character was colored differently. You know, like Patty Mayonnaise was like yellow.
Yeah.
Roger was green. Skeeter was blue. Doug was white or peach, whatever you want to call him. And then like other characters were like different colors and stuff like that, but they never even like pointed it out.
Yeah, they never addressed it.
They never did address it. Like,
That's
why the
cool.
hell was what like my whole like a lot of the characters that I never like thought too much about, but also
Yeah.
like why was Roger green? I don't understand why his skin was green and how that was normal. Like green skin, like a witch. You know, it's kind of weird.
He sounded like one sometimes. He
did.
Doug, like he had that like high pitched,
Yeah, like nasally voice.
Yeah.
But Skeeter was kind of close too. Skeeter's skin was very close to like Roger's, but like just a little shade off almost. You know.
Yeah. I love
like,
the
yeah, no.
theme song of Doug. Do do do.
Yeah, it's like the
do, do,
drawings.
do, do.
And
Yeah.
his dog Pork Chop.
And then like he shuts off the light.
Yeah. Dude, fucking funny. I think we need to let Allison start leading a little bit of our stuff.
Yeah. What's the next topic, Allison?
Are you losing focus?
Are we still
Allison?
talking about
Sorry.
movies, or are we talking about TV shows? I
TV
feel like we
shows.
kind
We
of
want
like flip flop back and forth between the two.
Yeah, no, we're on TV shows now.
Or
We're on
whichever
we
one.
went to movies and then we went back to TV shows. I wanted to bring up movies because
Yeah. All
I
right.
feel
Then
like
do it.
the
I got you.
cartoon movies, I feel like a lot of the good Disney movies came out in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah. What were some of your favorites?
I pulled up, hang on, well, off the top of my head, one of the first movies that I saw in the movie theaters was Tarzan. That was a good
Dude.
one.
I always talk about Tarzan because I always laugh at the idea of how like Phil Collins fucking slaps. With
Oh my god, that meme where like he's playing the piano and it's on fire. They're like, it's just a movie about a guy being raised by monkeys. Like, don't make it anything crazy. And he's like playing the piano and it's like flaming.
Yeah.
Phil
That
Collins is-
soundtrack is amazing.
It's amazing. It's literally, a couple years ago I was playing the whole soundtrack while I was working out. It was hyping me up.
Right? It's a good
Yeah.
soundtrack. Like, you
I
can
was
still
just
listen to
playing,
it and
like, this
enjoy
is fucking
it.
great, man. It's hype music.
Dude. That soundtrack was incredible.
Lion King. That came out in 1994.
That taught me about loss, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
That scene rips me apart every time.
It's just intense.
I
man.
always loved when they ate the bugs. They made the bugs look so appetizing when he's with Timon and
Like
Pumbaa.
gummies.
Right.
Yeah, they look like
gummies.
gummies and stuff. Like I always loved that as a kid. I had a weird thing about stuff with food as a kid, like with cartoons, and that was one of those things.
I feel like cartoon movies and shows just make everything look good.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Like a
The
lot of
pizza, a Goofy
yeah.
movie, when they're eating the
Pizza, Goofy
pizza
movie?
and the cheese is like dripping down.
ooh. So speaking of a Goofy movie, the singer, he plays, what's his name in a Goofy movie? What's the singer's name? Do you remember? Because Max wants to see that singer.
The star that
Yeah.
he goes.
I don't remember.
Something with like a lightning or like shit.
He has that cool hair.
You're talking about Powerline.
Powerline. So the voice actor and singer of Powerline recently came out as gay, by the way. I just saw an article about that. Here's a picture of Powerline.
Kevin Campbell.
Yeah, I think
That's his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's hot too. Powerline's a sexy character.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Powerline.
So hot.
Um,
Shot. You beat me to a picture.
yeah. Powerline, man. That was the shit.
Powerline.
Bigfoot. Oh, the whole thing with Bigfoot eating stuff in a Goofy movie. That was another thing. I forgot what Bigfoot eats. But I think they feed Bigfoot something to try to get him away from them. Because remember they're being chased by Bigfoot or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something he eats.
Beef
I don't
jerky.
remember.
Yeah,
Was it steak?
maybe.
It was probably steak. Because this is what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, it was a steak. Yeah.
Yeah, no, dude. That show also. I mean, that movie also. That show. Fuck me. That movie too threw me off, but also hit me hard because it's like how interesting it is how like Goofy really just wanted to connect with his son.
Yeah.
On the more like social like love level, and Max just didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? And it's just like one of those sad things where it's like it reminds you of like when those like clips that they have with like a parent and a kid and kids like daddy or mommy watch me do this, and then as they're getting older watch me do this, and then at a certain point that like the parents like hey do you want to hang out, no I'm busy tonight, and they're like teenagers or whatever, and then at a certain point like maybe as they get older, I mean into their like young adulthood, then they come back around, but like that period time frame in between where they're just like not interested in interacting with you.
Oh come on, don't bring that up to me.
I know,
I have a son.
Sorry. It will never happen to you. It will never happen to you, I promise. It will never happen to you, I promise.
No, he already acts like that towards me. What do you mean? He's like, I don't want to hang out with you.
But it's just sad. Because, I mean, the Goofy movie, and then... Wait, the other way... So this one... Which one's called the Goofy movie?
The first one's called A Goofy Movie.
With Bigfoot, right? Yeah. And then what's the other one called?
A Goofier Movie?
Goofier?
Oh, no, an extremely goofy movie. I remember this one. Yeah, an extremely goofy movie.
There it is. Yeah, because, like, both of them are the same design if you think about it, right?
Yeah, because it still has to do with, but now Max is in college and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But another thing I remember, speaking of food, when Max's friend has the cheese whiz stuff.
Oh, cheese whiz, exactly, cheese whiz. He's like spraying it.
Yeah,
that was Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore, that actor or that character.
Yep.
Pauly Shore was great during the 90s, dude.
That was his time.
Pauly Shore was that was his time. I think Biodome was during the 90s. You guys remember Biodome?
Yep. That was with one of the...
it was 96. Stephen Baldwin and Pauly Shore.
One of the Baldwins, yep.
Yeah, and then Joey Lawrence Adams, you know, from... she was in a lot of...
Kevin Smith movies? Mallrats,
Kevin
Chasing
Smith,
Amy?
Yeah. A ton of them, yeah. She was the love interest in Big Daddy.
Yep.
But no, like Byron was what is it? Purple Sticky Punch. I don't know if you guys remember that. But no, Pauly Shore literally that was his era. I still love Pauly Shore to this day. He's funny, but obviously like it's the same thing. There's a lot of characters or actors that like had their era, and then now that they're out of it, they're like never really gonna bounce back to that level. Like Adam Sandler, he's never gonna get back to that level. Jim Carrey was probably never gonna get. I mean, Jim Carrey was still pretty good, and Sonic was still pretty good, but like he's never gonna get back to Ace Ventura. Fucking. How am I forgetting The Mask? You know what I mean? Like those level movies, he's never gonna get back to that humor.
Smoking. Yeah.
Smoking.
I hate Jim Carrey.
Really? Is it just completely like not one movie?
I just hate him. I hate
not even one movie you like. You don't like any.
There is one movie that I like with him in it.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah. I like the one serious movie. I mean, there's probably other ones, but like.
I don't like his humor. I think like that's the thing.
You don't like when he turns around and he talks with his butt.
His movies are just so cringy to me. Like it can't.
He overacts, and he does the same thing in Sonic, but it's like charming in Sonic.
Yeah, it's funny.
But funny. Well, not fun fact at all. So in 2018, Jim Carrey was in Hawaii, and there was a missile scare. So he had gotten a phone call.
I remember that.
Yeah, that he had 10 minutes to live, basically, because there was a ballistic missile from Russia that was slated to hit Hawaii where he was. So I had read that he, I guess, like sat on the shore. He like tried calling his daughter or his kid and all that, and then he just sat on the shore and kind of watched the waves like go onto the the sand and stuff. Like imagine how peaceful that must have been, because
like taking it in.
Yeah, like it sounded like it was a really peaceful moment. It's one of those things where like when the missile doesn't hit you, it's like, well, like that just kind of took the winds out of my sails right now. Like I was like all ready to go and like.
Yeah, like this was gonna be my moment. This would have been like a fucking, like a huge moment of like dying from. Yeah, because you die so quickly, you would be like instantaneously.
Yeah,
it'd be like a blink.
But to rewind a little bit though, Allison, your list. What are some other cartoon movies that you had on that list?
Yeah, sorry I interrupted if I did.
There's just so many. I feel like a majority of like the good Disney movies came out in the 90s. There's a ton. Hercules, Pocahontas, Toy Story.
Ooh, Toy Story, yeah. Joss Whedon wrote Toy Story. Fun fact.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was one of the writers or something like that.
Wow, you know a lot of movie facts.
Muppets in Space, Flubber.
What'd you say, Allison?
I said you know a lot of movie facts.
James and the Giant Peach.
About, like,
That's a classic
people that
movie.
Like make the movies and stuff. I'm
Did
like,
you not
I have
know
no
this
idea
about
what
me
you're
before?
talking about. I do, but like every time someone brings up a movie, you're like, oh, this person made that movie. I'm like, how do you know this stuff off the top of your head? Like, that's crazy.
I'm just a
Bug's
walking,
Life?
talking IMDb page.
How
That's
about-
just
That's an
Bug's
impressive
Life.
talent.
A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was like the classic, like, you
Randy
know,
Newman music.
the poor rising against the rich kind of thing. Like, it was like an anarchist movie.
Dude, I honestly, you're right. That
Anarchist.
speech. Yeah, that speech though is a classic speech though. The ants outnumber us, blah 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 to 1. If they ever find that out, our way of life is over, or something like that, dude. Fucking classic.
Yeah, dude.
'Cause that's true. That's true. I mean, think about like how small the percentage is. But that's the thing. It's like it's not the same thing with ants and bugs. It's a little different, you know. They can physically overturn on little other bugs, but like for us, it's like we can't just take down the 1%.
I haven't seen the movie Ants in a long time, but like I think it's like actually like well, not objectively, but I think it's like a better movie. It's considered a better movie than A Bug's Life.
Do you remember who the
they're around the same rating.
Do you remember who the voice of Ants was?
Billy Crystal? No. Yeah, was it Crystal? Hold on, what was the
Of Z. Woody.
Oh, was that Woody Allen?
Woody Allen,
God.
That's actually had a really good
man.
cast, because you were saying before they had a really good cast because it had Woody Allen,
Danny Glover,
Sylvester
Sharon Stone.
Yeah, Gene Hackman, Jennifer Lopez was in it, Dan Aykroyd was in it, Christopher Walken was in it.
Yeah, Ants was stacked.
Yeah,
and it was
stacked.
dark, kind of.
Meryl Streep was in it. Yeah.
Like there was a scene where he's like after the war or the battle, he like comes across the decapitated head of one of the ants, I think.
Ugh,
and it's like, damn. But yeah, A Bug's Life, that's a classic. Pixar, yeah, that's when Pixar really started. That literally when they started, like they did some shorts at the end of the 80s, and then 95 they had Toy Story.
Toy Story
2 was in 99.
Which still is a good one, but Toy Story 2 is better.
Yeah. They established the, but like I believe that nowadays. I just don't think it's better than the third. But I rewatched Toy Story 2. Yeah, Toy Story 3 is the best.
This is a good
No,
one.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
Allison, what do we got?
What's the best one, Allison?
Rank them. Let's hear this.
Okay, 3 is the absolute worst.
Okay.
All right, stop copying my wife, but whatever.
It's creepy. Like the part, isn't that the one where they're like in that like incinerator thing?
Yeah.
Where they're going into
And they're holding hands, and I like teared up. I was like, "This is it."
I hate it.
No, I'm kidding. I didn't tear up in that
I
part.
hate it.
What's the best
And
one?
then
Well, how many are there? There's 5 of them.
there's 4.
4.
There's 4 of them?
Lightyear doesn't count.
Like, to be honest, I was never really a huge fan of the Toy Story movies. As a kid, I was, but like, I don't know. They're just 3 is the worst. I would say, I don't know. I'm kind of between 2 and 4 as being the next worst. I would
This
say
is mine.
I think 4 because
This is mine.
there's like a creepy, like, it's like in an antique shop and there's like this creepy doll and there's, I don't know, that creeps me out.
Yeah, that was.
Yours is what?
That was good.
2 you think is the worst?
No,
Or the
this is
best?
best to worst for
Mine's
me and
oh,
Pat.
okay.
Yeah, mine's best.
Pat, you thought 3 was the worst?
Yeah, 3 is the worst.
Yeah,
Thank you for
3 is the
agreeing.
worst.
Pat, you're
to be
capping.
honest.
I'm pretty sure last
You
time we had
think
this
1 is
conversation.
the worst?
Well,
Yeah.
4 didn't exist. 4 didn't exist
Why?
last time we had this conversation, brother.
1 is the best.
I think 4 is better than 3. Yes.
1 is the best.
No, 1 is objectively not
Put
as
it down.
good.
Put it down, Allison.
Put down your
papers
best to
down.
worst.
So we
Best
can
to
actually
worst.
look at them. I want to physically
Yeah.
look at it. But no, Sean, last time we talked about this, 4 wasn't out yet. So there's no way I could have said 4 was better or worse, right? That's
Well,
fair.
no, but 3, like, I'm saying that 3 would have still been your worst. But I'm saying that I don't recall that. Like, I thought...
No, I mean, if it was without it...
Or maybe I'm thinking of Brett, because I think you and Taylor liked 2 the best.
I thought 2 was really good.
But after rewatching 2...
the background, that was really interesting.
Oh, it had excellent character development for Woody and Buzz. Like, you had fleshed out characters, I think, honestly, in all of them, including 4.
But yeah, no, it was always this when they first came out. It was always 2, 1, 3. It was always that for me.
Yeah.
And then obviously now
why do you think 2 is the best?
Because first off, it gave us an idea of why Woody was even an important character in the grand scheme of like the toy world. Like why was this toy so important? But it also gave you an idea of what Buzz Lightyear was too. Like it kind of fleshed out both of those characters by giving you a background that they have a larger scope outside of just being the toy, like the fame of them. I thought that was really interesting. And then it introduced new characters really thoroughly by giving you like also the world building. It just built out like, you know, the Barbies were in it and stuff like that. So I just thought that was like really good.
But see, that's what 3 did really well.
Design was really good. Go ahead. Tell me what you like about 3 then.
Okay, so the reason... So
I was like, I got a comfortable food.
Yeah, I know. So 3, I feel like, was finally Toy Story, like, creating an excellent villain arc. So 2 had Stinky Pete, and Stinky Pete was like, he was done pretty well, but I think they sacrificed a lot of his potential by having him, like, having that twist. Like, you see, Stinky Pete was the one who was pulling the strings. And they had that whole thing with him and how he kind of like, you know, he would speak in Woody's ear to get Woody to kind of feel a certain way. So Stinky Pete was a good villain, but 3 gave us lots of Huggin' Bear, and it was like it was really great to just see like that emotional history of him, how he was discarded when he was younger. So he had this like pretty good idea. Like he had good intentions in the sense of like, what was it? He wanted like this community of toys, and Woody's crew wanted to go back because they went there on accident. They got stuck there on accident, and lots of Huggin' Bear was basically like, no, like you're here. This is our community. He was like the governor from Walking Dead or some shit like that. He was just, but I feel like it was a very nuanced villain that I thought was effective, and the fact that they released Toy Story 3. And everybody who grew up with the first 2 were like getting out of high school and we were growing up. That end part when Andy gives his toys to, what's her name? Anybody remember her name?
Remember her name?
No, I don't remember her name. But just that ending scene where it was him kind of passing the torch to her was such a beautiful scene. It was fantastic. I loved it.
It was Molly.
No, it's not Molly.
Bonnie.
Molly's the sister.
Yeah, Molly's Andy's sister. That's right.
Sorry. It was Bonnie.
That was an excellent
Anderson.
way. That was an excellent way to end it, and that would have been a beautiful way to just end Toy Story in general.
Right? I was so mad when they made 4. I'm like, you didn't have to keep it going.
No, but 4 was actually really good.
I think both villains were very much like cult leader, Walking Dead leaders, right? They were basically saying like, you need to stay with us. You were a family. We're together. This is what we are. We're not with the humans and stuff like that. Because yeah, you're right. Like 3 was basically the idea that like, actually, if you think about it, they were both very similar with like, they were both talking about like, you need to know where you're supposed to be. 2 is saying you're part of this roundup, Woody's roundup or whatever it's called. So you need to stay with your crew. While the other one was like, you're part of this daycare now, so you get to stay with the daycare.
Each movie is kind of like about identity if you think about it. So the first one is like Woody, so it's Buzz Lightyear basically becoming intelligent. Like he thought everything was just how he was programmed to think. It was his identity, and then Woody's identity was at stake in the first one, because you introduce Buzz, who's now the new favorite, and Woody has this existential crisis about it, but then they kind of grow together, and that's like it's a great like identity arc, I guess, for both characters. In 2, Woody has like a different angle for an identity arc, where he realizes that there's a lot of importance in his history, and he's kind of like, oh, I love Andy and all that, but oh wow, this new, like, is this where I belong? Okay, well then I'll follow through with this. This is great. And then you have Buzz, who's still kind of coming into who he is, and when they meet that other Buzz, and it kind of gives OG Buzz the chance to, like, you know, be on the other side of the first movie, you know. And the contrast where how like Woody's this rare toy and Buzz is at the peak of his like market, like, basically there's like a shitload of Buzz toys at this store, right? And then with Woody's like a rare collector item. I think that having that contrast in 2 was a great piece of just identity. Then the third one, how they're all kind of like, they have this community, but they think it's with Andy, but the whole pass off at the end of it with Bonnie made them realize that the community is the toys together, not who their owners are. I thought that was a really beautiful thing. And that community, it was more so about community than identity, and I think that was like an organic way to lead to, after talking about identity for those first 2 movies. So you got identity in 1 and 2, then 3, it's the collective identities, therefore a community, and it's like the community was at stake in that sense, because they met lots of Huggin' Bear, and he was like, this is what I want, and then they kind of they get back to Andy, and then it's like, no, the community was the friends they made along the way. Okay, it was just the toys themselves are the community there. And then 4,
or just a waste of a movie.
No, because it was a really well done movie. It was the Toy Story 2 of like this generation, I guess, or like the Toy Story 1 of this generation even. You know, there wasn't anything too big at stake, but it had some decent story beats and some good character arcs.
But I'm still gonna say though that I think mine.
You're wrong, Patrick.
I think mine's right. I think mine's the objective truth. That's kidding. You know what's awesome too?
What?
Spider-Man.
Oh, the TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Fucking great.
The Spider-Man TV show, superhero stuff. Well, no, that's 2000s when we got Spider-Man finally, but we had Blade, right? The first Blade was in the 90s.
Well, I'm talking about the 94 TV series Spider-Man.
Yeah, the cartoon, right?
Yeah, 94.
Yeah.
Shit was good. The first episode was the Lizard. Night of the Lizard. So good. You get to see freaking Connors turn into the Lizard.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they did that more, like, to the like, that storyline was, like, not beat for beat, but, like, similar beat for beat with the Amazing Spider-Man. I wish instead of making it whatever, you know, how they wanted it to be, they kind of just kept him in that like family role and stuff. Because I think that's what makes the Lizard the most intriguing, is having you know, a wife and a kid that he cares about, that he's trying to look normal for, or something, you know.
Absolutely.
And then instead they're just like, nope, he just wants to change the world.
Everyone gets to be a lizard.
Everyone's a lizard now, bitch.
Yeah.
It's the next step in evolution.
X-Men animated series. That
Classic.
was 97, and they're doing it again. It's going to be called X-Men 97. I wonder how that'll be.
I hope it's good.
Um,
But yeah, do you want to pull out the next topic, Sean?
I'm trying to think what we could do. I don't really have anything on the docket right now.
Nothing on the docket? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything either. I mean, music. We could talk about the music of the 90s.
Yeah, let's close it out on music.
Yeah.
Allison,
Allison,
what are some 90s music people that you like?
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys.
I was gonna say Backstreet Boys. I'm sure you also think of Spice Girls.
Spice Girls. Britney Spears.
I think of Third Eye Blind.
9 Days.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
See, we're like very different with the music taste, I feel like.
Dude, Oasis Wonderwall was in 95.
Oh, dude. All right, I'm gonna play Wonderwall. Every acoustic act ever. Backstreet Boys. I fucked with Backstreet Boys.
Nirvana. Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, I didn't vibe with Nirvana when I was a kid though. That was later.
What about No Scrub by TLC? I
Ooh,
don't
that's a
want
good
no
one.
scrubs.
It made me want to be a scrub.
Yeah, I to this day I still want to be a scrub
Yeah.
because I don't want to be wanted, you know.
Eminem's Slim Shady LP, I think, came out in '99.
Oh damn! Right on the cusp.
That was excellent. I think one of my
love.
yeah, Tupac. One of my favorite songs of all time, I believe, came out during this time. Patrick, do you know which one I'm about to talk about? Oh, never mind. No, it came out in 2000. I was gonna say "Wonderful" by Everclear.
Oh,
But that was
that
in
song.
2000.
Sean loves that song so much.
Yeah.
It hits him right in the heart spot.
Yeah.
No, Backstreet Boys though brings me back to my mom, to be honest, because she loved the Backstreet Boys, and I like listened to it because she always played it all the time. You know what I mean? My
Have you
mom
been
had very
listening?
particular music she was into.
Yeah.
Los Lonely Boys, Backstreet Boys, and then recently it was Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like an organic, like,
Yeah,
evolution there
It's
too.
actually really interesting how organically that was.
Yeah.
Though. Really funny.
Because that, that was the boy band evolution. It eventually went into the solo singer like Bruno Mars.
No, without a doubt. And then that's crazy. Barbie Girl by Aqua was in 1997.
Oh, really? I thought it was older
I'm a
than that.
Barbie girl.
Yeah. In Sync.
Guess not. Instinct, maybe.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
In Sync was another one. Another one.
Classically Torn by Natalie. I don't know how to say her last name.
I don't know how to say her last name, but I know what you're talking about. I like that song.
So good. So good. And then Celine Dion. I don't know what year that was. But
Titanic came out in the 90s. Can we talk about that epic fucking song? My Heart Will Go On?
Does it go on? Yeah, go ahead.
Near,
Don't
far, wherever.
I was gonna say Sean's gonna start singing it, and then everyone's gonna turn it off. No, I'm just kidding.
Not gonna auto-tune it, actually. Make it sound excellent.
If you can.
Yeah, it was released in '97. The official like single of My Heart Will Go On. What a great song.
Bittersweet Symphony with the verse.
Yeah. Damn, I was looking up Michelle Branch, but her first album was 2000.
Dude,
Yeah, that was the first album I ever bought.
Yeah.
Oh, really? In
Yeah.
2000?
When was Everywhere released? Come on, tell me it. Oh no, 2001.
She just did like a 10-year or a 20-year re-recording of that whole album.
She was also recently charged with abuse.
Yeah,
because her spouse, like, she was at home with her 6-month child and her spouse cheated on her, so she slapped him and he called the cops on her.
His bitch ass called the cops. I'm sorry, I don't condone violence, but like there's a time and place when you can slap someone, and I think he deserved a little bit more than a slap.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things, like the circumstances of the charges, it's like, on one hand, maybe we don't have the full story, right? But on the other hand, it's like every outlet is saying that, he slapped him after like he cheated on her or whatever. Is that toxic? It could be. You shouldn't hit people.
Out of this one.
Yeah, you don't want to hit people in any relationship. That's a negative thing.
Right. But cheating is also a negative thing.
Yeah, exactly, and that could also be seen as like violence, and like that could be considered like emotional violence. You know, that's a whole other conversation about it. Yeah. So it's not justifying either side. Well, I'm not going to justify her doing what she did, but it's like it makes sense as a response to what happened to her. Like that's the biggest thing. It's like it's nothing new. And at first I was like, okay, maybe he he reported her because he's not famous like she is, so he wanted like something from it.
Attention.
But no,
He's
the
pretty
drummer.
famous,
Yeah,
no?
he's the drummer for the Black Keys.
The Black Keys. Yeah.
I was like, oh, then why do you call the cops? I don't know. That I don't want to talk too much about it
because being abused, Sean. That's why he cheated on her, because she slaps him often.
Is that actually something you read, Patrick?
No, I literally didn't read any of this stuff.
Yeah.
No, I can respect your guys' opinions, though. I to be honest, I'm not in that boat, though. I'm more in the, like, everyone keep their hands on themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. I mean, that's where I am with my relationship.
I can understand,
right?
Allison, that, like, at a certain point when you feel so disrespected and the emotions of that, I can imagine.
I know that no one's going to agree with me on this, but I feel like every once in a while, if someone does something shitty, you deserve a good slap across the face.
I think I know what you're saying too. Is like you're not assuming the slapping is gonna be like really fuck someone up. It's just gonna be kind of like this like
right
physical aspect of like how upset I am.
I'm not saying like go and beat the shit out of your like significant other, but
if
like
you're gonna cheat on me, I'm gonna
Taylor,
break your legs with a pat.
A slap across the face, like that's literally nothing.
Yeah.
You know what? It would have been better though if she just filled up a cup of water and splashed it on him.
Honestly, he probably could have been able to charge her for assault with that too.
I mean,
because
I think
that
that's
literally,
yeah.
I think that actually is. I think
that absolutely could be considered.
Some states,
any forms of aggression, any forms of aggression like that would be considered assault.
Yeah, the amount of videos I've seen where people are like, "You splashed water on me, that's assault," and you're like, "Really? That's assault? That's crazy." Because
it's
I
not
splashed
assault,
water.
it's a water.
It's a. There's no assault in it too. No, I mean then I assaulted. You know, like when I was doing Water Wars, when I was working at the camp, I assaulted all those kids with the hoses.
Okay, don't say that. Someone could just snip this part of the podcast, and Pat's like, "I assaulted all those kids."
I assaulted them. I beat their ass with water hoses.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like it's subjective in terms of experience, and like you just
it's legal design probably.
Yeah.
I mean they like to believe that leads to something more aggressive.
You have to have a lot of money that you could throw towards a lawyer to even try to charge someone.
Yeah.
And that person has to figure whether it would even be worth it to try to fight it in court. 1982 is when CDs came out.
Yeah.
But
really?
I think they got they were popular. They were like popular. They had to have been popularized by the 90s, because like my dad's car was like a 1990 Ford Taurus or something, and I don't know if it even had a CD player. Might have had a cassette.
We never had CD players in our cars until like I don't know, I would say like 2005 ish.
Yeah.
It was always cassette players.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think like it CDs didn't really pick up as a main source until closer to the 90s, I guess.
It's so weird how like they became popular and then like died out in such a short amount of time.
Streaming, same with movies, dude. Like
I got a couple decades and then that was it.
I got all these 4Ks over here, but like those are already starting to be phased out. They got 8K coming, but then they also have streaming services that are really upping their quality. Like when I watch stuff on Netflix, the frame rate on those streaming services like are excellent. So it's like, dude, I could keep getting 4K, but it's like I'm kind of getting that same quality. But I like having the physicals though. That's something that I do appreciate. Because then I could just resell it later in life, right?
That's a good point.
No, but yeah, everything's being replaced by the digital age streaming.
Oh, for sure.
Patrick, you got some?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's interesting that like Enter Sandman by Metallica came out in '91, and
nice.
And it Mbop came out in '97. I just think it's crazy to think that Metallica came out with Sandman before Mbop. Just interesting to think about.
So there's like a whole play. Sorry, yeah, continue.
No, I was just gonna say it's just interesting how many like songs came out before other songs, but it's like My Name Is, like you were saying before, that came out in '99. It's just weird to think that Eminem, that Enter Sandman was released before My Name Is, But go ahead.
I was gonna say that there's like this whole playlist of 90s songs that I think of that take me back to the Forest Park pool, because when I was a kid we used to go to the pool a lot because there was a pool just down the street. And
go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Yeah, no problem. And then on the radio at the pool and in the car, it was always the same 90s songs that you would hear all the time. Matchbox 20, like one of my all-time favorite bands still. Like I get into moods where I want to listen to them. I just want to make sure that their album
That's like
out.
dad music.
Dude, Matchbox 20 is the shit.
I have a dad music playlist and I have them on there.
Oh, really? Does it count for me now that I'm a dad? So
you have to listen to dad music.
Yeah, so their album in 96 has like all those classic songs like Real World, Long Day, 3 a.m., Push, Back to Good. I mean, dude, they got some fucking bops on this shit. Your dad's got good taste. Just because Matchbox 20 and then like early 2000s, I mean, we could do a whole podcast about that, because once you get to the early 2000s, movies, TV shows, music, I mean, God, it was just like a surge of stuff that was coming out. So much content that was coming out during those years.
Trying to think of like more 90s music that I was into. I feel like every time I like think of things, it's always like early 2000s stuff.
Yeah.
Like I guess Britney Spears was technically early 2000s and not 90s, right?
Are you sure? Because I thought she was like just as like Backstreet Boys were getting started. She was
talking
getting
about
started.
Britney Spears?
Yeah. Let's see when her first album was. Her first big album.
Because Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera were like verses, basically, right?
I'm pretty
like
sure it was 2000 that her first album came out. Oh no, it was 1999.
Okay, Baby One More Time. Yeah.
Yeah, Baby One More Time. Yeah.
But like most of her stuff is like 2000 stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's when she first started. Like the late 90s.
That's crazy.
Dude, so I'm looking at the track list for Baby One More Time. One of the songs is called Email My Heart. Like, how dated of a song is that?
Email My Heart.
Like, oh man, that just takes you back.
Yeah, it really does.
Like there was a music video that people talk about a lot. I forgot who it is. But someone's texting someone on one of those like flip like horizontal phones with the keyboards on it, but they have Microsoft Excel opened up typing into it instead of an actual chat window.
What was that?
God, you heard it though, because that's in,
no,
like,
I remember that. I don't know. Shit. Dude, that's like too funny though to think about, because it's like legit they don't have to think things through at all in those moments, but it's like the second we see it, we know it's a mistake, you know?
Oh, and the video for Dilemma by Nelly, Kelly Rowland is texting.
That's what it was? It was that was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
that's
just
so
looked it
funny
up.
then.
Because like that's such a
She's
like
texting in Excel.
Even watching old music videos from 90s, early 2000s, just the way everything is, like people are interacting with each other, like it's just so dated, and it's like, wow, like that feels so goofy now to see it like that. You have FaceTime now, you have like better forms of communication, but back then you had a landline phone. You might have a cell phone. They had cell phones in the 90s, but not a lot of people had them.
They were like bricks.
Yeah, the Nokias.
They were called bricks, yeah.
They were indestructible. You could run over one with your car and it would still work.
Yeah. Allison, look at the chat. That's the snippet from...
Oh my god.
Yeah, she's got Excel.
Where you at? Holla when you get here.
What
so
file
funny.
is that? What company does she work for where she has to...
She puts it through Excel first, and then she puts it through her messaging, yeah.
No, I was
Maybe
saying
that's the way
she's
of
trying.
privacy.
I think that's a very nuanced way of formulating cells in Excel. Actually,
Maybe. Yeah, you know, they could be sharing the Excel file through some sort of cloud. So then all she has to do is save it, and then he'll open it up from his end, and that Excel file, and he'll see that, and then he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'll be there soon."
Allison's using Excel right now.
And that's how they. And I mean, honestly, Sean, and we can make logic out of it. Maybe she's doing that because it saves on the connection between like texting. You know, less less time frame used.
Yeah, she's
No.
emailing instead of paying for text messages.
Yeah, like
no, because
data,
Wi-Fi like
data.
was how big of a thing was Wi-Fi at that point?
In the 90s?
Yeah, or
There was no
early
Wi-Fi.
2000s.
Wi-Fi wasn't even a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, when did
2002
Wi-Fi?
was when that video came out. So how long? Wi-Fi Wikipedia.
I don't think there was Wi-Fi in 2002 either.
Wi-Fi. That's what they used to call it. 1997.
Okay, so it's, but it probably wasn't. I don't know.
I mean, it's still not ready.
It.
Still not ready for them to use the Wi-Fi internet connection for Excel contact.
Yeah, I know. Like she didn't have it with her phone. Just
there's no justification. It makes me laugh because that reminds me of like a picture that was like, why is he never texting you back? And the picture is this woman on a landline. It's like that's why he's not texting you back, because you're on a landline.
Oh,
you guys ever use pagers ever in your life? I've never used a pager.
My dad had one.
So you never use one though?
No.
I feel like you never needed one. Like, who would need a pager?
drug dealers.
Well, so you could like get in touch with somebody if you needed. I don't really know how it works.
Why would you use a pager? Like,
so
I
a
don't know
pager is to
why.
let someone know, like, hey, give me a call. So then the next time that person's by a phone or a landline, they'll call you. So it is effective in that sense.
How did you like?
But how did you write out?
Them through
It's
the,
just
did you have
it's just
like a button that you press.
Yeah, it's
so
just like
you have a button and then they have the pager.
Basically,
so I don't know. Only one person can page you.
Two pages. You have two pagers.
Or you page them with the phone.
No, you page them with the pager.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think people. I don't know. Later on, I think you were able to text pagers. I don't know how pagers work, dude. That's technology that is way out of my.
I don't think any of us know. Because look at this pager.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Okay. How do you use this thing?
I remember those, but I had no idea how they worked.
Play. Arrow. Like, I just want to know. I want to understand. Because like, let me break it down to what I think logically makes sense. In a sense. Okay.
Receiving radio signals. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like you.
So yeah, but someone wrote out the message to your pager. So isn't that the same as a text message?
External events and manually entered messages and schedules. So either way, you put those into the paging controller, and then it goes to the paging transmitter, and then it's transmitted to other pagers. So it's like a text message. Yeah. Right. It's like a text message, but I don't think it had enough bandwidth or whatever you want to call it to
respond.
Put out, or even put that much of a message there. That's why when people do the pagers or the beepers, they call them, it's just like, hey, give me a call.
Okay. My next question though is, do they have numbers? Do the pagers have numbers so you know which one you're paging?
I don't know.
Shit, man. This is the shit I want to know.
Yeah. But this pager that you sent in this chat, that looks like the pagers that the maintenance guys used to use at Mars.
Really?
Were you there when that's how they got their escalations?
No.
When you wanted maintenance to come to a machine, you went into SAP and you put in like the machine, what was wrong with it, and then it sent a message. Yeah, exactly. It looks more like that one. But it sent something through a message like this to the maintenance guys, and they all had these pagers.
So weird, dude.
Interesting technology.
I just think it's just interesting technology. It was a step behind text messaging, and I feel like it could have just been text messaging, but whatever.
Like you pick you up at 9, you just send them a responding pager. No.
But no, I don't know. It's funny because I never really thought about that. And like, so if obviously I've done faxing before, but like, why do we still fax nowadays? Like, why does faxing like still relevant? I guess. Like, why do people fax still? Do you guys know why you would fax something?
Usually maybe people feel that it's more authentic in like the corporate sense, or like with your bank, or when you're doing like things like that, maybe pertaining to the bank or your work, etc., etc.
Yeah, if you need like a physical copy of a document or something.
Yeah.
But couldn't you just have someone email that document to you?
Well, I don't know. Some places require you to have like the physical copy.
And I think faxing is, like I said, the authenticity of it, because if it's being faxed to that person, it shows you where it's being faxed from, and it's going to reflect that it's being faxed from the place where you want the proof of which it's coming from. You can't always get that from an email, because you can make up an email, but I don't know if
you could send an email from your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's
like
true.
faxing, you could probably fax from your house, but it's gonna have a code on there or whatever on the
It is in
receiving
the
end.
office or whatever. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's how they do it, but this is
I
all
was gonna
old tech.
say, yeah, I was gonna say this is old tech. That's why I think that like they should just create, if that's like the concept, then they should just make that more clear on like have an email, because like what you could, because everything you're saying that people could just scan the document on their like printers or whatever, and they could just email that PDF or whatever to someone rather than sending it, and then that person can receive the email and they can print it out if they need the copy. So like to me, it's like, why do you need a fax? And the only thing I see is that so you just like don't have to worry about anything clicking wise. Like she was saying, paper document, you just put it in, it copies it, it sends it off, and then there you go. You don't got to worry about printing anything out. You just kind of, you already have the document now. So I get it though. That's like an extra. That's like leaving out a step.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely
so
seems
that's it.
more convenient.
Okay. I actually have to fax something pretty soon. So like I was like thinking about that today. Like, why can't I just email something?
Yeah,
But I'm sure they're gonna want me to fax it. So
you could probably
No
fax it from
worries.
work, can't you?
yeah, I could go to work and do it. Yeah.
Because I think they should still have a
So-
fax machine there.
Yeah, they do. And I could get someone to help me easily if I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, no. I think the technology of back in the day, I think it's really funny how we grew up with all this different technology that's so outdated now that like people wouldn't even understand what we're saying,
yeah.
Mhm.
pointing out certain things. You know what I mean?
They'd be like, "What are you talking about? Pager? Books? Are you talking about books?"
Do you ever see those videos where they show like the newer generation stuff from like the 80s and 90s?
Yeah, like
And it
songs
just
and
makes,
stuff and videos.
it makes you feel old as hell because they have no idea what the hell the stuff
Yeah.
is. I'm like, okay, cool, thank you.
For real.
Thank you for making me feel ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have no idea.